Welcome back, everyone, to Testing Grounds. I believe it's the 11th edition. I am Kid, and over here tonight with me in the commentary booth, we have Riley. How are you doing tonight, Riley?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. But yeah, I believe we should be on our way very soon into I believe round three of Testing Grounds. So how are you feeling about tonight? Like, are you excited to see some exciting sets? Like, how are you feeling about tonight?
I mean, like, of course. Yeah. Sorry. Just, like, try to imagine a scenario in which someone would say no to that. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to see some. I was, like, eyeing the participant list. There's definitely some teams that I would be hyped to see on screen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who can really say no to just like seeing testing grounds and being like, oh yeah, there's never really a dull moment. Because with testing grounds, like you always have like every set has at least one moment in at least like in the beginning stage or in the end where there's never a dull moment. You always are excited to see games. You always are there. So like, it's really just exciting to be here and be here tonight. But yeah. All right, so I believe we have our first set of the night here on round three. If I am correct, we will be seeing Nonsense versus L2K. If I'm
License to
getting that
Krill,
right.
correct.
Elected Krill. Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, but yeah. From just looking at these rosters, these players, a lot of them seem very familiar. I mean, obviously we see License to Krill, very popular team, and then Nonsense. We got Pika, and just some other familiar faces like Toast. It'll be a very interesting set that we'll be seeing tonight.
Looks like sort of a hiccup between the members of Azure and Maelstrom here. Sorry.
It's good, but
License
yeah,
to License to Krill is obviously a more established, concrete team that we often see in these types of events. So we'll definitely have to see just how they do go.
yeah, for sure. But on our first map tonight, we will be seeing Clan Blitz on Ancho V game. So uh knowing past your past like experience with this team, like from what you've seen on tournaments, if you even play them in past tournaments yourself, what do you expect we'll be seeing on this game one?
Uh, it's hard to say really. I guess it's just a lot of people forgetting to look at their respective windows for flanks and stuff. At least from my experience, that's what I
Yeah,
encountered on this map. But, you know.
those windows are definitely a very tricky spot. I mean, like, they can easily, because I believe there's two spots you can enter from. I mean, obviously, there's one spot where there's like, it's definitely easy to it's better. Oh, never mind. It looks like we
Wait a
actually have
minute.
two maps. Don't mind that map change, but yeah, actually, our first game will be Zones Back Belly. So yeah, not a very popular map.
Amongst non-slosher players. Uh,
All right, we are loading into our game right now on Zones Black Belly. It looks like we will be seeing
a custom blaster for one. It's definitely a very interesting pick in zones, but if you have the paint to support it, it can definitely perform just as well. License to Krill's gonna get the zone first here, but We just see Steffi trying to, like, take note of people who are flanking, for one. It's going to be a trade there. Tent is definitely a strong pick for zones. Like, obviously it's very map dependent, but when you employ it like this, it can definitely be a nuisance. So we see them whipping out the inkjet here. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get any picks off that, but it applies pressure. That's good for something. Unfortunately, it looks like the blaster's going to go down. They will take lead, but it might be a rather short-lived one. They don't have much penalty to get through at all if they are able to take control. We see the Charger here is going to get, or rather the Sea-Jet, I mean, is going to get harassed by this blaster, but they just managed to break away. We see them challenging the Bloblobber, and they will get the pick, but sadly the Explode will bring them down. We see Exploshers basically just trying to ward them out as hard as possible. They are going to get missiled here, which might make that a bit hard for them to maintain this position, and he goes down. Unfortunate. K-Shot's going in, guns blazing. It does get a nice trade, but that's going to be a wipe on the side of Nonsense, so this might be a good opportunity for License to Krill to really take hold and get a lockout here if they can get picks and specials properly. Turtle here is just maintaining this position, not letting anything bring him down, basically. And he gets a very nice pick on the Bloblobber in the attic, but he will be brought down by this Inkjet, which, in turn, goes down to a trade from the looks of it. Nonsense is going to take back control. Sadly, the Blaster's going to bring down the K-Shot. He seems to be attempting to go on a bit of a tear, but he will be brought down by the Sea-Jet. Oh, that baller definitely caught me off guard. They will bring down the Sea-Jet, but that's... yeah. Flanking Explo. Never seen one of those in my life, outside of Idiots and Solo Queue. This might be looking like the beginning phase of a lockout on the side of Nonsense, although they do have Bubbles and the Stingray coming out from L2K, so if they can just keep up paint, they can do this. They are currently 2 down. Make that 3, but... Fusion managing to stay alive. So, like, they still haven't capped the zone. L2K, that is. So if this baller is well-positioned enough, they might be able to just hang on regardless. He does get a pick on the K-Shot, and they manage to take control back. Very nice. Granted, they only have about 15 seconds left. If they can just keep control... We see L2K trying to rush that left zone, popping out the Stingray. They do take control, slapping Nonsense with a pretty nasty penalty. If they are able to get the comeback on here, sadly they don't. Sadly, I'm not there to actually look at the Splatnet stats, but I have to wonder how much paint that Explo had, because 12 picks, or KA, I mean, and just they would not go down for anything. That must be like. Either way, we're going into Rainmaker Manta Maria. This is a map that I personally enjoy, but it can be kind of awkward, especially for Rainmaker, where it has a tendency to end in basically 5 seconds. We'll just see where it goes from here, I suppose.
Right. Am I back?
Hello, sorry.
Right. No, sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, I'm back. Don't worry. But yeah, yeah, sorry about that. I was gone for the first game, but yeah, for the second game on Manta Maria Rainmaker, I believe, if I saw it correctly, yeah, Rainmaker.
Yes. We have a Rapid Deco coming out from Nonsense. Very interesting pick.
Yeah, that's the you don't really see that pick really picked up that often. That's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out in this. But yeah, currently we are seeing Bronze from the side of License to Krill up on their bunker, trying to do what a backline should be doing, like trying to keep it down, keep the bunker down. But sadly, the Rainmaker will be going to the left actually, but will fall down to the cut. And yeah, I believe it is. No, it's not reset. It's back over there, which means that Nonsense is going to have to keep on pushing that because it's Rainmaker. There's not really any safe pushes until you knock it out.
Definitely. There's never been a safe lead in Rainmaker outside of, basically just getting it down to 1. But either way, it looks like we have 2 down on the side of Nonsense. They have a relatively solid push, but that is one that can very easily be matched. We see Greguru here getting a double. This could definitely be the start of something good for L2K right now.
Yes, right now they are going to...
he gets another pick. They're going in with Stingray and Armor.
Yeah, they do get a pick. They do take the lead, which means that like, even with one pick, it really just shows that one pick can be the starting the thing that starts a push. But as we see there, Nonsense is able to stop the push with a wipe on the side with a wipe for License to Krill.
Now we just have to see how Nonsense decides to capitalize on this opportunity and how L2K responds to it, as it were. Gregor here getting kind of pinned down by all these specials, but he manages to get a very nice kill on this K shot.
Yeah, for
sadly,
sure. I mean,
sadly unable to bring down the Rainmaker, but that's why they invented Stingray.
I mean, we call it GG Ray for a reason. Like, they take out that push, like, just like that. And as we're going to be seeing here, Pika's going to be coming back in, which, at this point, Nonsense has to try and just stay alive and try and keep their position, because if they don't, that'll really negatively affect them later on in the match. Because right now, License to Krill, they have the lead, they have the Rainmaker, and things, if they keep it like that, then things aren't going to look too bright for Nonsense.
We saw them, or we very briefly heard them without the stamp, but they will be brought down. They're basically just trying to take as much control of mid as possible. They bring down the Inkjet though. They get off missiles. First, their push is cut short. For a second, I thought they were trying to do the trick where they go around the wall and through the grate, but not quite.
Yeah, they weren't able to pull off that cheese, but I mean, right now, License to Krill is actually able to reset it, which will just make things harder for Nonsense. At the same time, will it actually negatively or positively affect them later on? Because that that did lead them to have 2 down. So it's really like a high risk, high reward. Like, was it the thing that they needed to do, or should they just kept positioned and stay for stuff? Because right now
But
they
we do
are.
have the GG Ray. Can it get the kill fast enough? It is, and it's a wipe from License to Krill. At least a delayed one. Can the NSAP stop it? No, sadly they're brought down, but there we see it. The one safe lead in Rainmaker that you'll ever see in your life. And it's a wipe from the side of Nonsense, or on the side of, I mean. So now we just... If L2K can just get complete control of everything and pin them down with picks, then they could probably take this back.
I mean, it's Rainmaker and Monta. Like, you can never, like, I mean, even one that, even getting down to 1, that isn't an exactly safe push. Like, I mean, obviously, like, the lower progress, the better. But, like, I mean, at the same time, you can never really be safe. You always gotta, like, watch out for your flanks and stuff. But, currently, Licensed Krill is in a really tough spot. 1 down, I believe 1 was also responding, which means that right now they're kind of in a iffy spot. They only have about 20 seconds left, which, the more the time goes down, just lowers their chance.
They don't have to push anymore, but the K-Shot was running towards the Rainmaker, but sadly they're brought down. Although they do have the Stingray, if they can get into position fast enough, then maybe they can do something funny. But sadly the Stingray, or the C-Jet gets brought down, so that might just be it, unless... Okay, now like... this will be fairly interesting to see if they can make something happen. Sorry, go ahead.
It's good, but like, I mean, they only got a few seconds. They really got to at least take out that blah blah, which they do. They really just got to get pushed up here and try and take out one more person.
Sadly, the K-Shot goes down.
They really got to push it
but
up
they're
right
2
here.
down. This might be a decent... But the Inkjet above their bunker, that is in a... It was in a good spot for them to, you know, take it out. But now they have the Stingray. They have Turtle's Tent Shield. They're still 2 down. They might be able to do something here. Oh, but sadly they're brought down by what appeared to be the NSAP. Very unfortunate. But for what it's worth, they did make a valiant effort to take that game back. You gotta give them credit.
You really gotta give, you really gotta give credit where credit is due. I mean, like, they really tried to push up until the end. It's just that, like, they were, Nonsense was able to keep up their pressure and, be able to, keep their push safe, which is really good for them. But keep in mind, this is a play all 3 set, which means that, I mean, judging off the past 2 games, it's possible they can come back in this, License Krill can come back in this 3rd game, which can really help them on later in the tournament, because the 3rd game is always the most important one in play all 3 set, because every game counts in Swiss if you're playing play all 3. I mean, every game counts, no matter what, but, like, this right here can determine if you get into Top Cut or if you get eliminated from the tournament.
Absolutely. I just have to question if they will change up their strategy at all. Like, knowing that, hey, we have this in the bag, kinda. So, like, I don't know.
If I was Licensed Krill, I'd be like, okay. Right now, we have a possibility. Like, the thing isn't completely out yet. We have a chance. We shouldn't give up yet, because, again, this is the game 3. You can't really give up yet. Like, the game is not over. The set is not over until Judd comes up and says they win. Because everything else, it's Splatoon, specifically on Tower Control Mako, it's up until it's over. Like, you gotta keep on pushing. You only know really until, like, really the last 5 seconds, and then even then it's more like, will he get a comeback randomly? Like, it's really just all over the place for Splatoon.
Mako Tower Control is a very easy map to get locked out on if you're not careful, so a comeback on this map would be very interesting to see. But we see them farming armor already right out the gate, battling just for control of mid.
Yeah, right now we're going to be seeing Pika trying to use their range to their advantage. They do take out Gregory from the side of Licensed Krill. It's currently a 3v3, actually 2v3 right now from the Nonsense to Licensed Krill. 1 down from the side of...
The Blob gets a very... Already with the Stingray, you can tell that they want to just, you know, make this game 3 count.
Yeah, but they do got 2 down right now, which means that Nonsense will be pushing up currently. Turtle is being a little risky right now. They are being a little aggressive. They are really Test actually just came out with the Splash-O-Matic. When that was on the side of License to Krill, Nonsense is gonna have to use this chance to push up, and it looks like they may be able to get lead right here, and they do take lead, but it is only about
whipping out the dual inkjets. In addition to the suction bomb rush, that's going to provide a ton of pain and pressure, like, respectively. If it, like, obviously if you can get picks on them, it doesn't matter as much, but, like, that's a ton of just oppression that you have there. Sadly, they do pull out the Stingray, so they might, the push might be over for them, but still, 45 is a pretty solid lead here. Sorry to cut you off, by the way.
You're good, but, like, I mean, right there, can we just mention how Pika was able to get that, like, 180 or something on them? Like, they just, like, snapped back, and they were able to get that kill. But, yeah, right now, I would like to mention how Pika is using Thermal Ink. Like, for blobs, that's a really important part. Like, I mean, like, you touch them, and, you know, you get marked for, like, 15 seconds or whatever it is. Like, it's really important, and that can really help them on later in the game.
It's a very situational ability, but on Blob, it is a very nice thing to have from personal experience when I used to main the thing. Here we see the Inkjet, though. In addition to armor, very nice special coordination. Basically just going for picks, but sadly, they're going to go 3 down. But they might be able to get something resembling control in mid, now that it's a delayed wipe, I believe.
Yeah, right now, License to Krill is actually going to be trying to push up. There is one down from the side of Nonsense, meaning that they will have to be trying to take whatever they can right now. There is about 2.5 minutes left on the clock. 2 down on the side of Nonsense. This is, or actually, forgive me, 3 down on the side of Nonsense. Right now, they just got to get pain and get pressure, and then that's looking really well for them.
The Bloblobber is putting a lot of pressure here on tower, and they pull out the Bomb Rush, which is going to, you know, clear out a room pretty quickly. It is a pretty nice trade on the NZAP, I believe, but they might still... Well, okay, they're 2 down. But there's 3 down on the side of Nonsense. If someone can get back to tower, this could potentially be a lead stealer right now, if that's even a term, which I doubt. Just Bronze trying to maintain as much control of mid as possible.
Which Bronze can definitely do. I mean, they have the range. Like, they are the longest range shooter in the game. Like, that's you know, like, they got a ton of mine. But currently we are nearing about 90 seconds left in the game, 1.5 minutes left. So they really have to License Girl has to, like, really push up and you know, like, not really make any mistakes, because once again, the lower the time, the lower the chances you have to push up.
Right. We do see them put a little bit of a chip into their lead. Sadly, though, there's 3 down on the side of L2K, although that was just a triple from Gregoroo here, so if they can, I guess, make it a quad now, but, like, if they can just maintain this pressure, then, like, because this is still a pretty, you know, close lead. Like, if they play smart and, like, coordinate and just get picks and everything else you'd want to be doing, they could very easily take this back.
Sure, I mean, there is about 30 seconds left. They really got to keep the pressure up. Right now we see Bronze over on the drop chart just trying to provide pressure. They only need about 12 counts and then they get the lead. 2 down on the side of License to Krill, though. They got to try and back up and try and regroup, because if not, that's really just feeding into Nonsense. 2 down on the side of License to Krill, though. Things aren't looking too well for them.
Bronze is just doing everything he can to maintain something resembling momentum right now, but he's just getting pressured so hard between the blob and the various Inkjets that... But Turtle's still alive here. Oh, well.
It looks like that will be a 3-0, I believe, from the side of Nonsense, which, I mean, you do got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, License to Krill, they kept up. Like, they, through that whole... they kept up. You're fine.
All 3 of those games were very close. We see Toast again with... He got 18 KA on the Vanilla Splash in the last game, 20 this time. Definitely love to see V-Splash propaganda in my life. But definitely, they shouldn't take this too far. All 3 of those games were very close. And they could definitely keep up, like, in a longer set, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, like, after that set, I, like, typically I'd be like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, whatever. But, like, with this set, like, that's It was a pretty good set. Like I would leave that set, even from License to Krill, I'd be leaving good because I would know that we tried our best and it showed. They got down like 14 points or something left on the counter. Like that was really important. Like 12 points to yeah, like they just kept on going. Like it was a very what's the word? Good set to see.
Absolutely. It was a very fun set to watch. I approve greatly. But for now, we should be going into some sort of interlude between rounds here as we decide who we're going to be looking at next. So, yeah. Wait, is it over already? Like that particular set thing? Sorry, right.
You're good. You're good. I mean,
Oh wait, so this is still on stream? Oh great. But yeah, I guess we'll just sign off for this round, as it were. So we'll see you in round 4, I believe.
Great.
And we're back. Welcome back to the 12th installment of the Testing Grounds Tournament Series brought to you by IPL. Going into this, we're going to be looking at Bingus Destroyers versus Midnight.
Yeah, I believe Bingus Destroyers is obviously, but then Midnight, I believe they recently disbanded but then can't come back. So this is gonna be an interesting set. So if I'm
Definitely.
not wrong, they should be their first tournament um if I believe so. So yeah, that'll just make this set even more interesting.
Midnight is obviously they're coming off of something resembling a hiatus, but they're still a very established, very solid team, so it'll be exciting to see them play here. Bingus Destroyers is a pickup from some members of Vembo IHOP, as well as Zone Inc. from Destiny Troops, and Grace, who is the reason that most of these tournaments run the way they do, so don't forget to thank your TOs, basically. But going into
Yes.
Clan Blitz Inkblot here, yeah, I got so carried away with that, I don't know what to say right now. But we do see a Booyah Bomb for one. 96 Deco, definitely not something you see all the time, but I'm excited to see what they do with it. I enjoy that weapon.
Yeah, right now we will be seeing actually a Nova from the side of Midnight. Right now they're getting paint currently, as you see. Right now Midnight is kind of just pushing up. I mean, not pushing up. They're trying to get paint. But yeah, Bingus Rose is actually trying to push up. You see, Boing being a little push up, 2 down on the side of Midnight. They gotta the Midnight really has to keep their guard up right now. They just gotta get paint and stuff. Down on the ground. We see Boing right now popping their bomb. 2 down on the side of Midnight, but also two down on the side of Bingus Destroyers.
They're not in a great position here to push up, but like with that Booyah Bomb, they could very easily get some points on the board. Now that Echo, their main source of aggression, is back on the field. But we see them all piling onto their plat, so it's like it's unclear if they'll be able to, easily get them out of there. Or at least, like, drawn out of position, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, currently we are actually going to be seeing the machine from the side of Midnight. They're currently responding, then Slash is also responding currently. Yeah, right now we will be, Bingus Destroyer so far has not actually, really given up yet. They were so close to making another power clam right there, but sadly they were not. Midnight is actually going to be, pushing up right now. 2 down on the side of Bingus Destroyer. They're going to have to, try and get a clamp to actually make this push effective.
Midnight is definitely exuding a lot of pressure in here. They just don't have a lot of clams to push with. If they can just get some, this could definitely be rather scary for Bingus Destroyers.
For sure. Currently, we are seeing the machine from the side of Midnight. They are just really going all over the place, trying to get paint, trying to get pressure down on everyone. I mean, trying to get paint on the machine is definitely kind of hard, but I mean, it's possible. We will be seeing 1 down from the side of Bingus Destroyers. Right now they're pushing up, 2 down, 3 down. Forget.
He's able to bring down another.
Jumping out. That they gotta really get a power cram here.
They're trying to form one, and they do get it off, busting open that barrier. And we see the machine is pushed all the way up to their bats, and they are going to bring down another member of Bingus Destroyers. That's, like, basically a delayed wipe. They went down 2 down twice in a row. And Echo's the last alive here. He's just kind of waiting for everything to fall into place, but sadly he does go down. Although, Midnight is now 2 down. Make that 3. They might be able to, get control in mid and make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, right now it is not over. I mean, we still got about a minute left. This is enough. This is definitely enough time for Bingus Destroyer to try and get a push off. But right now we're going to be seeing Zoink. Oh, currently I believe, if I'm saying it right.
Yes.
They are actually going to fall down from the Nova's bomb because of the wall. 2 down from the side of Bingus Destroyers. Actually, things aren't looking too well from Bingus Destroyers, but that does not mean that they are completely out for the game yet.
Right. I believe that's the Junior getting aggressed, and outside of bomb pressure, there's really not a whole lot they can do. It's a rather unfortunate scenario to be in, although Oh, I saw that wrong. If Echo can get these picks here, which I know he can, this might be rather important.
We are actually seeing Midnight
They do have enough
getting
clams
close.
to end the game,
Have enough
though.
to knock it out. 2 clams. It's very close right now. The question is, will they be able to get it before the timer ends? And the timer will end before they get the knockout. But right now, Midnight really just has to try and just like be defensive. I mean, they got a minute left. They're sitting on a good position currently. You just gotta make sure that they watch all their chokes to make sure that Bingus Destroyers doesn't what is it come around and flank them.
It was a smart move to basically force the baller out of the Explosion there, because now they can't use it against them, basically. Midnight is now 2 down. This might be... Make that 3 down. They might be able to get an opening here and capitalize on it if they can just get some more clams. There are several strewn about that they can maybe, you know, get a hold of. Just have to see. They have 10 seconds left, so...
Right now we're going to see Echo popping their jet, possibly even being able to push up. 3 specials actually are going on the field right now from the side of Bingus Destroyers. When down from the side of Midnight, they may be able to try and get one in. Boeing goes down though. It's currently a 2v2 from both teams. It's only Grace right now, which means right now things aren't looking too well. That may just very well be the thing, because right now they are really looking too well.
Right. Everybody's pushing way up into Bingus Destroyer's base. There's not really a whole lot they're going to be able to do about that at this point, so that's going to be game 1 to Midnight.
I mean, but again, that does not mean it's the end of the set at all. I mean, we still got 2 more games. It's possible that they can at least even possibly just get 1. But I mean, it will be a little tough on Splat Zone Schellendorf. I mean, you really got to have that range. If you don't have range, and that's really tough.
Definitely. It's a bit of an awkward map for like backlines, because you can very easily get flanked, but as long as you call that out, you can deal with that, basically.
Yeah, this map is really all about coordination. Like, you gotta be like mentioning, okay, you gotta be watching for flanks. You gotta be, especially for the backline, because if they get a flank on your backline, things aren't gonna look too well for you for the next few moments. And then you also gotta be, you can't forget about the backline from the other team, because if you forget about the backline for the other team, things aren't gonna work out too well. I mean, this map is really, you gotta have range, you gotta have communication. You really gotta have that synergy with your team, and if you don't, things aren't going to work out well.
I will say I'm rather intrigued to see what particular backline weapon we see coming from Tenta here on the side of Midnight, because I know him as a very, very strong Charger player, but we saw him on Explo in the last game. I have to wonder if we'll see that here.
I mean, and that really begs the question further, like, what kind of Charger will they go? If they do go Charger, will they go, like, 4K scope? Will they go 4K? Like, will they go switch something else? Because, I mean, they obviously can switch to other backline weapons. I mean, they really did well last game, so...
It's not like Explosher is a bad pick here either, so... It's really either or, but... My point is, I'm basically just intrigued to see what he does.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what we'll be seeing very soon, as I believe we will be loading into our match a few moments here.
There we go.
For sure. Right now, we will actually be seeing a ballpoint being pulled up by Bingus Destroyers and a Firefin normal Charger, not scope, but no scope Firefin. So that'll be really interesting. Not really 2 picks you see often that are really chosen, but yeah, currently we will be seeing Tenta. They are currently...
He's already gotten in... Sorry.
Good.
He's already gotten into a strong position. He's able to take out the Junior. They were able to get off armor first, but he's already gotten another very nice pick, and that's 3 down for Bingus Destroyers.
Right now, they really gotta be coordinate whenever they push up. They can't really just go all in right now. If they go all in, that's not going to work out in their favor. We see 1 down from the side of Bingus Destroyers. Everyone's up from the side of Midnight. Midnight's really keeping down the pressure. They're already down 50 points. right now Zoink is able to get off the splash zone, but that won't really do much for them as they will fall down to Machine from the side of Midnight.
This K Machine is just sharking here, and he's obviously going to be putting a lot of pressure on the two that are there. But it's a 3v3 right now. If they... Sadly, Boing's going to get swarmed, but, like, the zone is kind of in limbo right now. If they can neutralize, that might be pretty good. Although, sadly, the juniors last alive coming out of spawn, so... Right.
Yeah, that will be a knockout from the side of Midnight, but... I mean, it is zones and it is Elendorf. It is really hard to get a lockout. You can't really blame Bingus Destroyers, but I mean... next game, we'll hopefully be able to see a more stronger game and longer game.
Especially, well, stronger perhaps, but I don't know about longer, because you have to consider it's Rainmaker Humpback, or as I personally like to call it, Cheese Land. So this could definitely not be like the longest game we've ever seen. You know.
You do bring up a good point. There is a lot of points where you can easily cheese points. You can for example. On Humpback, like if your Rainmaker is getting a little threatened at the moment, you can just like get on that rail and then you can back up a little bit and no one can really reach you. And then you get ready, you come back in. Or you could possibly go from behind, and then that's like easily like 30 points or 60 points or something. Like this map is definitely really not really that stable when it comes to points, but it's still a solid map that we could possibly be seeing on very soon. I would like to see a Ray being pulled out because Ray is really strong here, especially whenever they're pushing up. Especially whenever someone's being pushed in. So that'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I would not be even remotely surprised to see Rays coming out from both sides, really. So it's just a matter of what everything else that will be playing around it, as it were.
Yeah, we'll be loading into our match right now. On Rainmaker Humpback, we will, in fact, be seeing C-Jet being pulled out by Boing from the side of Midnight, not Midnight.
As well as Tenta.
Yeah, we will be seeing double Jet from both teams. Yeah, it looks like Midnight will be able to take the first pop. They will be able to get off an early armor, and the same for Bingus Destroyers. I mean, right now, things looking kind of even, although Zoink will fall down to really everyone on Midnight. 2 down from the side of Bingus Destroyer, looking really solid for Midnight right now.
They're already beginning a push, but there's that Ray, as always. Plus, you can barely see some other people at top right who are trying to like pressure the Rainmaker however they can.
Currently, they're sitting at 64. So, I mean, they got to get pressure and then try to get picked.
It's not a very hard push to break through if they are able to stop these guys here, but it continues. They do have the Booyah Bomb. If they can get this off fast enough, that could be the end of this push, and sure enough it is. But Bingus Destroyers are 3 down, so... Although, now Midnight is 3 down, so... I guess we'll be seeing some points on the board momentarily.
Currently, we will be seeing Echo trying to get some paint down, but also being kind of flanked, but we'll be able to escape from that flank. We will be seeing the K Machine from the side of and actually taking out Echo. 2 down from the side of Bingus Destroyers. As we saw before, right now they got to try and get Puff and try to push up because they can get more points on the board. Because as we said before, a push is never really safe in Rainmaker unless you knock it out.
Absolutely. And they're able to stop that before it even begins, essentially. We have, Destroyers are 2 down once more. They're just kind of trying to pick off any remaining stragglers, such as the K-Shot here. And they have a Stingray to push in with if they so desire, but they don't even necessarily need to do that. 23... I know I just established that, like, there's no safe leads in Rainmaker ever, but... like, hypothetically, they don't even really need to push anymore. They can just play it safe, get picks, defend, etc., and it'll be fine.
I mean, whenever we say there's not really a safe push ever really on Rainmaker, that does not mean that you always have to be like aggressive. Like, you can always be defensive because I mean.
Oh, but wait, they might be able to. Well, the GG Ray comes out, but if they can get up fast enough in time and pop it, they might be able to get the Rainmaker rather.
But yeah, it actually will look like that will be a delayed wipe on the side of Bingus destroyers, meaning that right now Midnight will have to be getting their paint the map control back and trying to get picks so they can try and you know and get the Rainmaker, or at least try to play more defensively. We will be seeing Tinta pulling out the Ray, taking out Grace from the side of Bingus destroyers. I believe it's actually a 3v2 right now. Two down from the side of Midnight, which, I mean, things are looking up for Bingus destroyers right now.
We still have more than 90 seconds to go, though, and we saw how far they got before. They're already pulling out the Booyah Bomb. They have the Stingray and armor. This might be... Oh, and missiles, too. Let's not forget those. They might be able to get something going here.
Yeah, but
we
it looks like that
Ray
battle, will be able to take him out first.
Sadly, though, it's a wipe on the side of Bingus Destroyers. And I just want to add briefly, K-Shot is definitely a very smart pick, because missiles... Weapons like missiles and Booyah are good for basically haranguing any Stingray that, you know, will try to mess you up in Rainmaker.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you're playing Ray, you gotta, like, you know, be trying to keep pressure, but then if you get, like, a missile set on you, like, you're gonna do, like, you're gonna cancel your Ray, like, lose time on your Ray, like, it's really... Being a Ray, it's really, you know, it's really hard because, like, you gotta make sure that no one's gonna missile you, bomb you, whatever people are gonna try to do to you. But yeah, it looks like the Rainmaker will be resetting. Really, right now, Bingus Destroyers has to try and group up and have some people on Midnight, and if not, that's gonna be hard for them to really come back from.
It appears that Midnight has, mostly has control of mid right now. So, and not a lot of time left in the game either. They might be able to just hold it here. Although the K-Machine is going to go down. Although Midnight themselves, well, it's currently a 2v2. Maybe Vortex here will get pushed back, but looks like he's just going to hold this position, wait for them all to come to mid, and then missile them. That'll throw them off their guard.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Midnight's really just trying to bait them, because, I mean, that's really, that isn't even that bad of an idea. Like, you gotta bait them, and then, I mean, as we saw there, that bait really did happen. Grace picked up the Rainmaker. They took the bait, and then the machine just popped out of nowhere, and then the Ray popped out of nowhere, and then they got took out. So, yeah, Midnight really, was really strategic that game at the end, so it's well done by them, but, I mean, at the same time, but you can really give credit where credit is due. I mean, Bingus Destroyers really did their best, especially in that last game. They really, you know, tried their best, and that's really all you can ask for.
True. Either way, they still have the better name, so it's all good.
they take the set win in the better name. It's fine, but actually, before we go any further, we actually do have something to advertise real quick.
That's crazy, because I do indeed. Before we go into this next intermission, this Saturday, March 13th, 8 p.m. EST, this will be the second Aquatic Cup, or I guess the 2.5. Yeah. They have two big changes in store for you. The format's going to be double elimination as usual, but there is no longer a skill cap here, and there will be counterpick systems, and in fact, counterpick only in this tournament. And this is basically just going to be a test run. There will most likely be changes before the next Aquatic Cup. Feedback will be very much appreciated. So, if you're interested in any of this, be sure to join their Discord for more information. We'll have the link to their Discord in chat very shortly.
Or if you'd like to hear right now, it's just discord.io/Aquatic Cup, and then you can go just from there and join us on Saturday or tomorrow at 8 p.m. EST.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing you there. I say as if I'm involved at all, but still, yeah.
Yeah, we will be going to a quick intermission between rounds, so we will see you in a few minutes for round 5.
Have fun. Stay hydrated. Welcome back once more to Testing Grounds 12. I'm here with Bandkid, and the set we'll be going into momentarily is going to be Cataclysm versus Universal, two very solid established teams that we have going against each other right here. This will probably be the best set that I see today, personally. How do you feel about this, Bandkid?
I mean, I look at Cactus. I'm like, oh wow, that's a pretty well-established team. And then we got Universal. I mean, I think I saw Bishop on the roster there, which I mean, they're a really good player. I can't wait to see how this will roll out, especially on Tower Control Starfish. From your past knowledge of the teams, what do you expect we'll be seeing today? Or
Rapid
tonight?
blasters from both sides, most likely, considering both of them rapid players. But aside from that, I don't really know what to expect. We might be seeing a Squiffer from the side of Universal, assuming that I read the roster correctly, because we have Woomph on the side of Universal. If I'm pronouncing that right, I'm very sorry. And they are a really solid Squiffer player who is currently on the rise, so yeah.
I would love that, a score for representation. We'll be loading into our game right now. Again on Tower Control Starfish Rainmaker. Starfish main stage, sorry. Tower Control Starfish main stage. There we go. But
Indeed, we see the dueling rapid blasters in addition to the Squiffer.
yes, you did predict right. We do see both rapid blasters being pulled out. See voice from the side of Cataclysm being able to get a armor off quick. I believe Universal actually kind of able to pull off armor quickly too. But yeah, speaking of Universal, there is actually in fact one down from the side of Universal. Currently at 3v3, 2v2. And in fact, the case off from the side of Universal is respawning right now. But yeah, things are kind of like a battlefield right now for mid.
Right. Having the brush just in mid in general is like, if you go into any 1v2 against an Octobrush, you are probably going to lose. So it's a ton of like crossfire aggression, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely not safe.
It's definitely dangerous to go up in those situations, especially with the Octobrush. But yeah, we will be seeing Universal being able to pull off a push, but 2 down from the side of Universal. That may just be the end of the opening push. We are seeing about a minute. About a minute and a half into the match. I mean, things are looking kind of even. 2 down from the side of Cataclysm. This may actually be the start of the second push from the side of Universal.
They are armored up and in a prime position to get some more picks. Violet's kind of, well, with Violet and Inari trying to pair up alongside this Nautilus player to bring some people down, and Universal will go 3 down. So maybe it was definitely a solid push stop there. You just gotta get back into mid and do the same.
Currently, Cataclysm right now is really trying to take advantage of that. I believe the wipe they got from Universal. They've got to take advantage of that and get pain and keep everything down. But it looks like there's actually going to be 2 down from the side of Cataclysm, so that may just be the end of the push. But we do only have about 3 minutes left. That is definitely not going to be the end of Cataclysm for this game yet.
Definitely. Like I said, these are 2 very evenly matched teams. This could really go either way. But as we see, Universal is in the process of expanding their lead here. We do see Inari with the Splat Bomb Rush able to bring down 2 people. And sadly, she'll be brought down by this Octobrush. I believe this is Alex playing, if I saw that right. Able to keep up pressure by just mainly existing in their pit and street area.
And yeah, pulling out an Octobrush and Darking is that's like a deadly thing. Like, it's kind of like the brush equivalent. It's kind of like the brush equivalent of like having a carbon oil like that. Like the Octobrush is really deadly if you just randomly come across them. Like I definitely do not want to go up against the brush randomly. But yeah, we will be seeing 3 down actually from the side of Universal right now, which means Cataclysm is going to have to try and take advantage of that advantage of the advantage they have right now. They have about 30 counters left, 2 down from the side of Universal again. Cataclysm right now is really trying to push up. You're down. Things are looking up for Cataclysm in about a minute and a half left.
The Inkjet over the Snipe, in addition to the Ink Armor and the Splat Bomb going into their pit, or Splat Bomb launcher, excuse me, is a very smart use of specials in terms of coordination and just positioning. Cataclysm is definitely going to be able to get a pretty decent lead here if they keep up playing like this. Sadly, though, the Nautilus is going to go down, but they will be taking down the Squiffer with them.
Currently, we will actually be seeing 3 down from the side of Universal, one respawning, but actually the Squiffer will be the only one left. Right now they are on top left. Right now Violet is just trying to put pressure onto that Squiffer. They will be popping missiles, and they are actually never mind. I believe they actually took the lead right there. But they can't always be safe. You're always walking on eggshells and Splatoon. So you gotta always make sure like it is not over until like it's clear that like okay, yeah, we got this.
And case in point, Cataclysm just went 3 down. Bishop is already taking up residence in their street, trying to get this person who's at top left, the Nautilus that is. They could, if everyone else keeps up at his pace, which it looks like they're doing, they might be able to steal this lead back.
Currently, we are actually going to be seeing Cataclysm. They do pop in armor, which is really good from their side. Actually, everyone from Universal is really desperate right now. I believe most of them pop their armor. Not their armor, special. One responding from the side of Cataclysm, but that will not be enough. And I believe Cataclysm will take the first game.
That was so close. The brush just barely fell off tower. That was very unfortunate. But you see what I mean. That was an extremely close game that really could have gone to either side. So
really just showcases what we'll be in for whenever we go into Clan Blitz Albacore. And I know you. I know that you love Clan Blitz Albacore. So what do you think we'll be seeing in this game?
Well, knowing the weapon preferences of some of the various people on Universal, I would not be surprised to see a Rapid Blaster Pro Deco here, because having wall on this map is very solid. It's also a very range-oriented map. Plus, it's a very... Having that and Squiffer, which will get armor very very quickly. I'm getting my words all out of order. Having the Squiffer and the RBPD is like a very effective double armor combo, so I would not be surprised at all to see that here.
That'd be a really interesting combo we'll be seeing. I mean, double armor, it's really currently in the meta right now, especially on Clan Blitz for sure. I'm really interested to see what we'll be seeing from this game too, especially after what we saw from last game. I mean, Universal, I believe, really just like pushed up like as far as they could, and then Cataclysm pushed up even more. Which I mean, with the Albacore, Clan Blitz Albacore, if you're not completely focused on the game, things are going to go south. So I mean, you gotta keep your conscience. I mean, like, you know, you gotta be focusing in, and if you don't, you're gonna mess up, and then that could possibly cost you the game.
Absolutely. We just gotta see what type of comp we see here.
We will be seeing that double armor comp you were talking about with the range with the rapid
RBPD. However, they have traded in their Squiffer for a 96 scale, which in itself, I believe that's more range than the Squiffer, so it's a very solid pick for this map.
For sure. I mean, this is a pretty open map. I mean, like, that's a really good pick for, you know, to have a longer range. But yeah, currently we'll be seeing a 3 down from both sides. We see Rush from the side of Universal currently will be just really all over the place trying to get picks so that their team can try and push up. It's currently 4v3 inside of Cataclysm. Universal really with these great clamps to try and push up. We will be seeing a Jed being popped, which really just shows that they're ready to push.
Yeah, the Inkjet and the armor, once again, over their street is very powerful. And the brush, just getting clams, trying to get in, this will definitely be a very solid push. And they managed to get an armor off, which will extend it even further as they bring down the Nautilus. looking right, there's the brush flanking. Sadly, they aren't able to get through, but you see what I mean. They're attacking from all angles. That is definitely a good thing to do on this map if you want your push to be not short-lived. And we see the K-Pro able to bring out the 96 gal. There's 2 down on the side of Universal. They're coming out of spawn, but, like, this could definitely be an opportunity for them to get some points on the board if they can get mid-control, get clams, specials, everything else they need.
Actually, right now we will be seeing the brush from the side of Universal getting kind of aggro, but that will actually be the downfall of them, as Violet from the side of Cataclysm will take them down. 2 down from the side of Universal currently. This is looking up for Cataclysm right now. They really got to push up currently and use that bomb to their advantage.
You'll notice that they're bombing the wall from the Rapid Pro. Always a good idea to do. It never hurts, aside from when it sucks your ink tank, basically. But we also have the Booyah Bomb. Very nice to have on this map. This is why K-Gal is so good here. It fends off the enemies. It's very good to have on your grates. And Booyah initiates pushes, such as that, where they're able to take lead. They're currently 3 down. Sam is the last alive, but it's not a bad position to be in. And he manages to get 1 more in at that. Very nice.
Even just 1 more, that could really help you on later on in the game. I mean, you do have about 2 minutes left, so we are about mid-game right now. So things could definitely go south for Cataclysm, and be good for Universal, or it could just be like this. Who knows, or we could possibly see a comeback in overtime, you never know. But yeah, currently we will be seeing Move right now is going to pop the armor. 3 down from the side of Universal and from Cataclysm. 2 make that 2. This may be an opening push, or an opening that they need to push up for. They pop an armor and they have 2 balls on the field. This is it's possible for them to try and get the push here if they can even try and get in.
We had someone behind their basket able to open it up somehow. That was... I would have to go back and rewatch to see exactly how that just played out, but that was a very interesting play, for lack of a better word.
For sure. I mean, right now we will be seeing 4v4. In fact, we see an armor being popped from the side of Universal, trying to them push up some. It is a 3v3 currently, so things are looking kind of even on the battlefield. We are nearing about a minute left in the game. We've got about a minute 10 left. But yeah, right now Universal really has to try and go forward wherever they can. They got 2 balls on the field right now. 3v3. Never mind, make that 2 down from the side of Universal when respawning. Cataclysm may actually even try to get more of a push if they get an opening.
Right. They just have to actually push ahead, I suppose. Because it does, like, they're going 2 down here, but it just doesn't seem like they have much of an opportunity to do that. Although they are able to get a very slick kill on that K machine. And with this Inkjet, they might be able to, like, pin them back further.
They are going to be popping that jet. I mean, they actually are able to take them by only about 1. They will be able to get some more in. Will they be able to get the Super Clam in? And they will be able to get the Super Clam in. There is about 18 seconds left or not seconds, 18 counters left, which means right now, Cataclysm really has to try and do whatever they can. They have about 15 seconds. They don't have much room to work with right now. They have to really just try and get a pick and really work on that.
Granted, they do have a fair amount of clams, although 27 is a penalty of 27 plus a 30-point deficit, if I'm even using that word correctly. That is no tall order. If they can get through this, that'll definitely be good. Although they do go 2 down, make that 3 down, that's going to be a wipe. That looks like it's going to be game.
Which, I mean, like, that's one of the few cases where you can really say, like, okay, right now, yeah, that's definitely going to be game. Because, I mean, it's really not workable. But, I mean, if I'm being honest, this just proves game 3. Like, so far, from what we've seen, it's been 0-3, 3-0, whatever you want to call it. At this point, it's currently 1-1. So, this game 3, tensions are going in. It's the last round of the set of the Swiss, which means right now, these teams, they're going to be fighting. This is going to be a battlefield in round 3. And especially on zones Wahoo, like, that zone is, like, so stubborn to try and take a hold of. And, like, it's going to put pressure on it. It's going to be a battlefield, really, like, all the time. It's going to be a really tenseful round game 3.
Absolutely, especially considering, as I've stated about 40 times, these teams are very evenly matched, and, you know, they definitely, you can tell that both of them definitely want to win this set, so they'll be going even harder in this game 3.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, like, I said before, on 5, game 3, there is 5 rounds. I mean, this is,
This could be
right
the
now,
decider of who makes it into Top Cut and who doesn't.
yes, exactly. I mean, this is going to be the game of, the set that's really going to be count the most, so, they're high.
Absolutely. All I can really say is, what weapons do you particularly expect to see once more? If
I would
any.
love to see more longer range weapons, but at the same time, from what I've seen before, I don't think they really want to push range too much here. But I mean, that's really coming from both teams, so they can't like be that upset. Wahoo is a really open map, and same with Albacore, but they did fine with it. So I mean, I think both teams really can do fine without the range, but
Definitely. There's... As long as your comp is balanced, you're bound to do pretty well here.
for sure. Yeah, I believe we will be loading into our match here on Zone's Wahoo World. This is, like I said before, this is going to be a really intenseful match. But currently we will actually be seeing Duelist Squatchers and Cropid being pulled out. And yeah, like I said before, there isn't really any dedicated backlines, which is something you don't really see much on Wahoo. Like, you really want that range, but then again, they do have a nod on the side of Cataclysm, so that may be their back, because Nod can definitely pull off the back, so it's just not really good.
Absolutely. Once again, we see the V-Rapid, which is a solid pick here, because you're able to put mines in Zone and Plat and various other places so that everybody's always marked. And also, Splat Bomb Rush is very good to recap the zone with. Either way, we see Universal has already gotten something resembling a lead here, but Cataclysm is making solid effort to take it back. Although it looks like...
You
go ahead. I was saying, it looks like the Junior is going to get overwhelmed, and Universal will, in fact, take control back.
I mean, right now, Universal is able to take it back. I mean, they do have the lead right now, but they've really got to try and push up and try and get a longer lead, because, the longer the lead, the better. They are nearing around 60, which is a good push, but they are at 88 with 9 penalties from the side of Cataclysm, so really, they got to take whatever they can.
Definitely. We see the Crapid here is already... Like, they're in a strong position. They're just able to exert a lot of pressure. Sadly, they are going to be brought down with this Inkjet, and it looks like the zone will momentarily be going back to Cataclysm, and it does. Now they'll be able to push up and exert similar amounts of pressure.
Yeah, we are seeing everyone up currently, but right now Cataclysm is going to actually, their crap is going to fall down. I believe that's great if, if possible, but I mean, yeah, we see one responding from the side of Universal, cute on the field. I mean, they will be able to take it back. They do have two weapons, so I mean, that worked out well in there. And 2 down from the side of Universal. I mean, right now, Universal, they're kind of just feeding into the enemy right now.
Perhaps, yeah. But it looks like Cataclysm is done with their penalty. They're gonna put some real points on this board. They're just... Universal is gonna go 1 down, and that's not really something you want to have in this situation. If you're gonna be getting back in here, you gotta have everybody online.
Yeah,
Bit of an obvious statement, but still.
I mean, Capitalism will be able to take it back to the zone here, but the question is, how much of a lead will they be able to get? Things aren't looking too well for them. They only have a Rapid and a Nod. Universal will be able to take it back, but they will be popping out their bomb launcher, and actually will be able to take out. I'm not sure what that was exactly, but I mean, they were able to take out someone with that with the set bomb launcher, which means that they will be able to take out their penalty and possibly even get all the way.
You can see what I mean, though, about Splat Bomb Launcher definitely being instrumental in able to, like, steal back a zone. I mean, it goes with basically any bomb launcher, but, like, V-Rapid here is definitely a good pick, is my point. Sadly, though, Universal is going to get wiped by Cataclysm, and they don't have much penalty to go through, so they might not even need to hold a particularly threatening position for that long. They only have 15 points left to go.
Yeah, they only have a few points left. They have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it could be a knockout. It will be from Cataclysm, meaning that Cataclysm will be taking the set 2-1 over Universal, but again, you have to give credit. I mean, Universal was trying out as much as they can up until the last second, which you always got to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. This was an amazing set to watch, and I highly implore that these teams scrim sometime if they've never done so before. It's just sets like these that you love to see. Very evenly matched teams playing with everything they got, as it were.
For sure. I mean...
Also, for the record, I want to apologize to the Brush main. I said their name was Alex. That was actually Mondo Nerd on Brush. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, that really just, like, earlier, if you were here, that really just proves our saying that in testing grounds there's never a dull moment, and that last set exactly explains that part really important. Like, it really exaggerates that point. Like, that was a really set. I mean, that was really well to see. I'm really excited to see what we'll be seeing from the rest of tonight.
Exactly. However, though, we'll be going into Top Cut here, and by we, I mean not us, because that is actually the end of the line for me and BandKid here. So, I guess, is there anything... Actually, wait a minute. I'm stupid. Hold on. Okay, I guess we have one more, so never mind. This isn't quite the end of the line. Anyway. I guess we'll see you then, I suppose.
Okay. Well, yep. Looks like that will be the end of us commentating tonight. I'm BandKid. You can find me on Twitter, band_kid_. In Riley, I believe they're just buff splashdown. So.
Right, sorry about that confusion. But, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @buffsplashdown. Just good life advice in general. I don't really have a lot going on, but check me out, I'm funny sometimes. And that's basically all I have. So thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of this tourney, and we'll see you next time. Have a good evening.
Ready? Have a good night, everyone.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Battle of the Free Agents, the only tournament. Oh wait, no, I read that wrong.
Popgun. I think you have the wrong tournament.
We are in testing grounds number 12 here at IPL. I am Popgun, joined on the microphone by the Magic 8 Ball. That is right, the Hoosier State once again taking over the microphone here at IPL to give you guys Universal versus 5 a.m. squad. Magic, I know you were looking over the rosters as we were behind the scenes there. What are some things that stuck out to you? Obviously, we just saw Universal, but what about 5 a.m. squad?
So 5 a.m. squad has a lot of a number of notable players that have dropped the game and sort of come back. You know, they're not exactly notorious, but they are still strong players like Pico and Seagrix. I've notably played against them in tournaments before, and I expect them to do pretty well. I know Pico's a strong ballpoint player, although that was years ago, so who knows. But obviously, on the other side of the coin, Universal, strong team. We just saw them, unfortunately, go down to Cataclysm, but they are a very strong team with a lot of good players. They recently picked up Bishop, who's another really good addition to their team. And I expect to see a lot from this team, and I expect them to make it out of this round and put up a fight next round. But you never know what could happen. Anything could happen in testing grounds.
Yeah, Universal is a team we're getting to see more and more of in the later stages of these IPL tournaments. I know a couple of SOSs ago, Universal was... they either finished in the top 4 or number 3. I remember commentating a set for them late in that tournament. So they're a team that's knocking on that door of trying to be known as one of the better teams in North America, if not one of the more upper echelon of teams, I guess you could say. But they come in here as the number 4 seed. I guess we should mention the top cut this time around is 6 teams instead of the usual 8, just because there's a little bit thinner crowd out tonight. And Universal, the number 4 seed, obviously you mentioned, we just saw them taking on Cataclysm in what was a fantastic set. It is worth noting the winner of this match will go on to face Cataclysm, who is waiting because they have a bye after round 1. This will be a best of 5 set. Game 1 going to be Rainmaker at Sturgeon Shipyard.
And this bracket is going to be single elim as usual, so this is go big or go home. And especially on Sturgeon Shipyard, you want to go big. You want those pushes to be as far in as possible so that you can put up strong defenses, which is really the key to this map, is making sure that you have the defensive positions prepared and ready and that you're constantly executing them. Because if not, those big pushes are going to be so hard to break down when you're going back to the other side.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to really on a map like this, it can be hard to get any kind of substantial points off in general. If you go to the left by the spools area, it's just a matter of if you can make the jump and if the bridge is down, and you can get more points on that. But if you take it more the right route, the safer route, it's still a very long way to go. So we traditionally... really, it's just the team that, with any Rainmakers, the team that gets the big push that wins, obviously. But it's so hard to get a good push on this particular map that it can really just come down to who can cross the 50-point barrier first and hold on to it. As we now get ready for some top cut action here. Game 1 of this best of 5. No surprises coming out from the side of Universal, and for 5 a.m. squad, looks like they're going anchorless as well with that. That is a vanilla H3, actually, with missiles and point sensors.
That is a vanilla H3. They decided to not use the double armor in favor of a bit more missile spam. With how much H3 paints, it makes sense. Missiles coming back on the other side now from that Kensa splatter shot. And it seems like 5 a.m. squad's kind of just stuck back in their pit here, trying to make a little bit of room for themselves, but unfortunately Universal is collapsing from every angle. They do decide to take that top left route, even though they had cleared out this bottom area, getting up to 51 points as Nano Nerd able to take out 2 here in the enemy base. And the Rainmaker goes green. They try to get it, but it looks like little was there just in time. And that's going to be a delayed wipe, and a good start from Universal, like you were saying. 50 points is probably the threshold that's going to win you the game. And Popgun, I think that they're in position to win this game.
Yeah, with 50. Well, they didn't quite cross the 50-point threshold just yet. But all they have to do. Well, here we go. We see them make the jump over here. The Law deciding to back out, wait for some teammates to come back in. As we see Bishop closing in, a wise decision. You don't want to rush things, even though you got plenty of time to work with. Obviously, getting a nice pick there. Just kind of waiting for something to happen. Ultimately is going to go down, and that is a wipe on the side of 5 a.m. squad. And Universal now finds themselves in a great position with all their players left alive to try to force something once again on this left side, trying to build up some missiles and something to work with. Another player goes down, so they're trying to just get something here, and it looks like that bridge is lowering. What the patience, waiting for the map to cooperate, and that gets them a huge push there.
Patience is so key, so critical. In Rainmaker, people always say, you have to like hold it forward, keep pushing it, like put it into the enemy's territory. But a little bit of patience at the right moments is key. As we see them barely try to knock this out, so close. Secret's able to take them down just before that happens, and now it's going to be a wipe. Overextending a little bit in the enemy base, but they were trying to go for it all. Unfortunately, could not do it, and that's going to be so hard because Universal's in control of this middle area.
So if you're 5 a.m. squad, obviously you're playing for the win, even though the win is going to be extremely difficult with basically getting a KO on this map. It's not impossible. But really, one thing you can kind of take away from this, if you're 5 a.m. squad, is to keep this game going, let it go to full 5 minutes, and maybe spend some time trying to figure out how Universal plays, because these are the same kind of weapons we've been seeing them use this entire set, and if they can kind of get a sense for how they play over the next 2 minutes, maybe this is something they can take in the game too.
And we see that Mondo getting another stray kill. I didn't see what that last one was, but really the only times that 5 a.m. squad has gotten any kind of advantage was when Universal was overextending, and it was very clear when they were. So they're going to have to figure out ways to force those errors out of Universal. It seems like they're just not able to do so right now. Like, we see Nando up here on that spinner area, going for a couple of rogue kills, but they're really not doing anything to contest Universal in this middle area. Finally, some missiles come out and push them out a little bit, but they seem very passive, and they need to start being a little bit more active, stepping forward, and contesting the areas that Universal has control of. And now the Rainmaker is pushing, and Popgun, it doesn't look like they're able to make any kind of room past mid.
Well, they kill Mondo Nerd. Actually, Bishop goes down, so that's 2 players down. Now, they don't have to get the lead all in one push, but there you go. 1 player, Sharking Archer, able to take down the Rainmaker. I was just going to say, they don't have to win this in one push. They can do kind of what Universal did. Push a little bit, die, pop it, push a little bit further. Because hitting a home run on this map is going to be really difficult. But right now, just look at the play style here. You tell me which team is the one that's losing and which one's the one that's just trying to bleed the clock. Universal's being aggressive. And right now, that aggression might just work against them. There's only 1 player left alive, and they're still trying to force it to this left way. And they killed the last player, so that's a bit of a delayed wipe. But here you go. If you're going to win the game, there is a window here.
Here comes the Inkjet, and 1 player again going down. The drawbridge is dropped, and this is pushing really quickly, really far. Monitor able to take down the Rainmaker, and able to take down 1 more. There's only 1 person left to pop the Rainmaker, and unfortunately that's not going to be enough. And what looked like could have been disaster was saved by a clutch Inkjet from Mondo Nerd. Great stuff to Universal.
And once again, that game was pretty much over at that 1 push that Universal popped out. But 5 a.m. squad showing some fight there, getting a little bit of momentum on that last push. Little A popping off with 16 KA off of 4 Inkjets. There's some stuff they can take away from that game as we head into game 2 here. A little bit of a more slower mode like Clan Blitz. I guess anything slower than Rainmaker on Snap or Canal. So yeah, we'll see what kind of adjustments they learned from game 1 that they can take into game 2 here.
Right, and like I was saying, it's that over-aggression from Universal that cost them that push in the end. there were no points on the board before that last final push after like a minute. And so controlling that and being able to control the pace of the match on the side of 5am Squad is going to be super important, especially in a mode like Clam Blitz, where Universal is going to have to be coming at them. You know, they can't sit idly by. And so because of that, Universal's probably going to have a tougher time dealing with these pushes. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have a tough time controlling the flow so that they can make those proper pushes like they were doing in Rainmaker.
You know, it's funny. Universal looked to be the more aggressive team, but if you looked at the comps, I mean, both comps were pretty somewhat aggressive. I mean, vanilla H3 is kind of fluid. You can be aggressive with it. You can kind of be more like a pseudo backliner with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looked like 5am Squad had the comp to kind of deal with the aggression Universal was throwing at them. But for the good chunk of that game, it seemed like Universal just had free range to do anything and go anywhere that they wanted to on the map. So if you're 5am Squad, you have all this paint to work with. It's just going to come down to, can they find a way to either slow down the aggression Universal's throwing out or pick up their own pace to match it and just throw fist with fist. And now the game is getting started. Game 2 here as we look once again at the comps. No real change for Universal. And, you know, in theory, nothing really different here. Actually, the same vanilla splash that's been coming out for 5am Squad. Right. So a lot of paint for 5am Squad. It's either slow down Universal or match their aggression.
And especially on a map that's as big as Snapper here, with these two very separated sides, it's going to be a very different game from Sturgeon, where Universal was able to control essentially one bigger area by having all 4 of their players in the right spot. But if somebody like Woomph decides to go a little too aggressive, they're going to start getting picked off. 2 specials up on the side of Universal right now, as they do have some clams ready, and a push looking to be forming as they've got a decent amount of control on this side. Oh, and Nintikade gonna go down. Unfortunately, Nononerd able to pick them off using some quick sharking. And another Inkjet kill, and this is going to be a huge push for Universal if they can get this one started. Here comes the Power Clam, Archer throwing that in, and here come the clams. That's already down to 60, and they didn't even have a second power, and nobody's down yet. Oh, I spoke too soon. There goes Mondo.
And here comes Bishop with a baller, gets a kill with it. Little A, one player left alive, the other spawning in, and they are out of clams at the moment. And Archer's just going to grab some and back out. Mondo Nerd jumping in. Actually,
wow.
Could have grabbed some of those clams. And look at Archer coming back door. I thought they were just retreating, but no, they were just reversing course. This should be the end of the push, unless someone else comes through that zip line. It looks like they're trying to. They're thinking about it, but no, they're going to back out. So there you go. Quite the opening push by Universal. But now the game kind of stalled out, in 5am Squad kind of left with that question. Once again, Universal being the more aggressive team, and 5am Squad just doesn't have an answer for it yet.
No, they really don't. And I think the biggest thing is going to be that brush. I mean, they have 3 short-range shooters on the side of 5am Squad, which the brush can deal with pretty handily if they play their range correctly and if they play their sharks correctly. And it's going to be that is probably the key factor of why they're playing so scared, that combined with the chip damage from the Kenso Rapid Blaster. And so, even though they do have a pretty strong push looking to be forming, they're trying to pass the clams. They're really not sure who wants to pick it up. And a bomb going to take down Little unfortunately. And that was looking to be a really strong push, but that's one bomb. And now the collapse from Universal is looking like it's shutting it down. There goes the law. Armor does come out, and so do missiles. They're trying to make a one last stand, but it seems like too little too late right now. And Popgun, Universal is coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, just a repeat of last game. Universal can do anything they want. Now, I think they actually got that throw off there from the zipline before dying. Okay, now here is your chance if you're 5am Squad. Yeah, you gave up a little bit of points. You didn't give up any permanent damage, and you get you get free range of their goal. They're popping missiles right now. They have a ton of clams to work with. It's just a matter of are they gonna put together this push, or are they just gonna kind of sit back and wait for something to happen? They see the brush, who takes down, I think, kind of accidentally pushed somebody into the water there, and that took a power clam with it, and now everything else is just falling apart for 5am Squad as a result. So they had a window there, but Universal shut it down real quick.
Of course, thought he could make it across the water, and the Mondo Nerd was there slapping him away into the... Oh gosh, that was so tragic. And after that, it was just downhill. The brush took out 3 more. Like I said, that brush, it's forcing 5am Squad to play so scared. They have such strong pushes forming. They've got the special coordination. One goes down off screen. But look at this. Universal's just coming in. It seems like they're really helter-skelter just taking these strange fights. And it's just working out. Bishop using this baller to just stay safe. And now, Universal has a 2-man advantage and a push forming. These pushes come out of absolutely nowhere for Universal just because they win their fights, I guess. Shoot the other team better, right?
Well, here we go. Oh, there's somebody sharking it. I don't think they realize. Yeah, here comes the junior. They can't get the KO because they're just 1 clam short. But there's always just one player with this clam bliss that's just sneaking away somewhere. And it looks like that will be the end of the push. It will be. Okay, so now, once again, just 1 point remaining. 5am Squad with less than 30 seconds to work with. And yeah, I think the brush has been a real major issue here in this game. You don't see Octobrush a whole heck of a lot, but when it outranges basically everything on the other side of the map except for the H3, which is currently dead right now, that's a nice kill by AAA. But do they have a way to... I mean, yes, this is going to go into overtime because they do have a power clam, but they don't really have a whole heck of a lot to follow it up with here. As the clock will go into overtime, Whoomp here just trying to take a fight, just making sure everybody stays back for 5am Squad. Look how green this map is right now. Look how green this is. Universal just in way too much control for that whole game.
You said it first. Like, the first thing that came to your mind when you looked at that composition on the side of 5am Squad was, wow, they have a lot of paint. And that entire map is green at the end. Even though it looked like they had a pretty sizable advantage. You know? Like, it wasn't like they were down. They easily could have painted the map. I think Universal was just completely outpacing them.
Well, it's interesting because we don't see Octobrush a lot. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean it's not allowed to be played or anything. We just don't see it played a lot at a high level. But against that particular comp, you would think, okay, there's a lot more paint on the ground for 5am Squad, and the Octobrush's disadvantage versus an Inkbrush's is a little bit slower. But when you don't have anything, I'm pretty sure Octobrush outranged 3 of the 4 guys on the other team. So it's like, the extra paint they had on the ground didn't matter, and especially when you're constantly killing the enemy team. And you saw Bishop cleaning up with the Crapid Blaster. You saw the N-Zap cleaning up as well. So you saw the rest of Universal kind of capitalizing and getting picks together. And what that did is just kind of open up the door for them to put paint. If you have more guys alive than the other team, all of a sudden you have the better painting comp. And it just seemed like 5am Squad could just never get position set up. And as odd as it is to say, it's because the other team had an Octobrush of all things.
Very strange. I know that some, particularly one top player, has been advocating for the Octobrush very recently. And it's interesting to see that it's trickling down. I know Mondo Nerd has been a brush player for a little while. But it's interesting to see that we see 2 of them coming to prominence at the same time, this late in the game. It's just very strange to me. But if it works, right?
Well, against this particular comp, yeah, it seems to be having a field day with this. But it's not over for 5am Squad. Once again, this is a best of 5 set. Anything can happen. Cool. This is testing grounds. We see all kinds of craziness going on here. As we're heading over to tower control at Piranha Pit. A Squiffer coming out from Universal. Comes. So here we go, a pseudo anchor here. That is the vanilla one with armor. And no Octobrush. Oh, wait, no, there's still an Octobrush. And for 5am Squad, I see the difference. There's no H3. Instead, we see the 96 gal. A little bit more range, a whole lot more RNG.
And a lot of more power if they can land those shots. But when you have 100% accuracy against, like, very low accuracy and you're hitting shots like that, Whoomp is a monster on this Squiffer. I actually played a game with them in solo earlier today. Just absolutely obnoxious. pumps out armors. The point sensor is just annoying as all heck. And Woof just plays it to a T. Plays its range, plays it to its strengths, and hits as many shots as you need them to. It's pretty impressive.
And here's a, oh, bless your RNG heart there. Mondo Nerd just having a field day continuing with that Octobrush. I was going to give 5am squad some compliments there. They did a good job of kind of slowing down that push because it could have been a lot worse. And they might have done just that. Players starting to jump back in for Universal. They're keeping the aggression up that they've been using this entire game that's got them this 2-0 lead here. But now it looks like finally 5am squad has a little bit of a man advantage to work with. And as soon as I say that, missiles come from the heavens and get another pick and 2 players going down. 5am squad just can't catch a break here. There's not been a moment, basically this entire set, where they've been having an opportunity to get established or get anything comfortable here.
That was insane by Archer. I mean, just, it looked like they just didn't see him coming. Nobody called him out, I guess. Like, I would have expected at least 1 or 2 people to just turn and punch him in the face or something. But he just snuck up on all 4 of them and ended up leading to this push. And Bishop gets 2 with the baller from the Rapid Blaster, and they clean it up as the auto cam goes to the worst possible player in this situation. Another going down thanks to the inkjet from Mondo Nerd. Whoop, back on this tower as they're about to start gaining more points. There is 40 remaining, and at this point, this push is going to be almost untouchable for 5am squad. Whoop going down. We do see some players getting marked here. Bishop able to keep people back, keep people honest. People rushing the tower, and it's just not going to be enough. Universal takes this one home cleanly, 3-0, ending it off with the key, the thing they're known for, Squiffer.
It looked like they ended it off with a drip pick on the tower there. That's what it did. But yeah, that's there you go. More of the same, except this time they didn't leave it with 99 points on the board. They were able to get that last one and get the KO there. You know, I was thinking, if I'm 5A squad, for some moments in that game there, I was thinking it might be best to just surrender a checkpoint or 2 just so you can kind of regroup and recollect yourself. It seemed like they were just stuck in a meat grinder from start to finish that whole game and just could never really get reestablished. But credit to Universal there. Their play style, I mean, this is why we're talking about them being a really good team. This is why they finish usually really high up in the standings of these IPL tournaments here, putting it on full display there against the quality opponent in 5am squad. My goodness.
Easily a team on the rise. A team that everyone should be looking out for, even at the higher levels. I fully vouch for them. They're a strong team.
Very much so. Absolutely, as most commentators would say. Hey, we're going to be giving you guys the next round of this matchup. I'm going to be taking a look at the bracket before we do that, honestly, and see. Oh, wait, actually, everybody's moving on, so we're going to be moving. We're not going to be taking a break. We're warmed up. We're ready to go. But before we give you guys that, we got some stuff to plug for you guys here, including the Aquatic Cup. Aquatic Cup is returning on March 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern time with 2 big changes. As always, the format is double elimination. However, there is no longer a skill cap, and a counter pick system is being introduced and is counter pick only this tournament. Since this is a test run, there will most likely be changes before the next Aquatic Cup, and feedback is much appreciated. Please join their Discord for more information. And I don't think I'm supposed to read out the actual Discord link. I think I'm just supposed to put it in chat here. Hey, speaking of feedback, if you have feedback for this tournament, maybe you played in it, maybe you watched it, maybe you think the commentators suck. Well, who knows? Leave feedback in the feedback channel of the IPL Discord server, or you could just subtweet us on Twitter and just hope we find it. But if you actually want us to see your feedback, make sure you leave it in the feedback channel. We'd love to see that stuff. Unless we don't.
Sorry, I was just subtweeting the commentators of this tourney. Anyways, so it looks like we're going to be moving directly into nonsense versus fantasy. Fantasy taking out the number 6 seed out of Swiss on the other side of the bracket, if I can pull it up. And that was Memento. So, Nonsense is a group of some pretty notable players, including Fusion, Pika Dave, the Slosher player, Steffi, and Toast, also from Missouri. And Fantasy has been a team that's been doing pretty well as of recently. They've got some really strong players in Lost, Sunshine, and Bandit. And so this should be an interesting clash. I believe these two teams played in Swiss, if I'm not mistaken.
If they did, Nonsense would have won, because the only team to beat Nonsense, I believe, was Cataclysm in round 4, 2-1. So yeah, and I guess while you're looking that up, I guess I could say, for Fantasy, if you are a fan of Vanilla Carbon Roller, you're going to see a lot of it here. This might be the only opportunity you get to see a Vanilla Carbon Roller. But I can tell you right now, this Lost feller is pretty doggone good with it, and is really kind of the driving force for what makes Fantasy so good. Is this Lost on the Carbon Roller here. And yes, if you're not familiar with the kits on that thing, it is Auto Bomb and Rain, I believe, because I'm not too familiar with that one myself. Usually you see the Deco version, but we're going to see a lot of it in this upcoming set.
I'm a huge fan of Carbon. And Lost plays it the best. One of the best I've seen. Shoutouts to Omega from Ascension, who also plays Carbon. But nobody plays Vanilla Carbon like Lost does. And it's very fun, and it's very aggressive in spots you never expect them to be, and they just come out of it on top and clean up really well. I played with Lost in December for the actually the tournament that ended up feeding into the Squid House, and very fun player to play with, very strong. I'm super excited to see how Fantasy has been doing, because I know that they've been performing relatively well in recent tournaments, so I'm excited.
Yeah, Fantasy coming into the set 4-1. Well, I guess 5-1. Actually, the only team to beat Fantasy was Universal, the team you just saw win on stream against 5AM Squad. So this will be the first matchup between these two teams. On paper, it should be somewhat even. It looks like they played some very similar opponents here and had some interesting scores against each one. But in the opposite side of this bracket, Cataclysm and Universal are playing. That is a rematch. That was a really close set, so it could go either way there from who can win that one and move on to grand finals. But we're here in semifinals, and it sounds like we are getting into a lobby, and we should be starting soon. Nonsense versus Fantasy, and I don't really know what the maps are coming up for this set, and it looks like we're going to be starting off on Clam Blitz Humpback Pump Track. If you're lost, this is a good. I think you love seeing this one being game one.
Oh, you definitely love seeing this one game one. The Carbon is deceptively strong, even on those higher level ledges where that clam basket is. It still one shots you if you play it right, and so because of that, these ledges and the changes in elevation, especially around that top mid area, is going to be so fun to play around for Lost. And if the team can support her, and if the team can paint around, it's just going to be absolute destruction. I guarantee it. But I do think that Nonsense is the favorite for this set, just going off of prior experience. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they battle with it. Pika Dave on usually playing things like Slosher, like Bloblobber. I know Fusion tweeted out that they were going to be playing mostly Rapid Blaster, so that should be an interesting diversion, an interesting way to potentially keep out that Carbon. Peek it around the ledges that it's sharking at. So it's going to be an interesting battle.
Yes, we've seen a lot of Rapid Blasters in this tournament on stream. I know Cataclysm used one. Obviously, Universal used one. If you're saying Nonsense is going to use one as well, this might be the tournament. I mean, this is testing grounds. In theory, teams are signing up in this to test out new things. Not that I'm saying they are. But a lot of blasters coming out here as we just wait for teams to ready up, and we'll be getting this set going. Let's see. What else could we say about Universal? You said you were kind of familiar with their roster. Do you think they're going to have an anchor or not?
You mean nonsense?
Yes.
You're speaking some nonsense right now, is what you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's only going to get worse from here.
So I know Steffi. I believe Steffi's. Is Steffi the support main? I believe Steffi's the support main. I could be wrong on that. Chat's probably going to correct me. And Toast is one of the main aggressors for Azur. I actually think I played them in solo as well early, and they were playing Blaster. They love blasters. They love the sloshing machine. Really, really high aggression player. Going to be taking a lot of aggressive stances. Going to be flanking a lot, and is going to be in the enemy team's face for sure.
Well, we're just patiently waiting for, I guess, players to join the lobby. I don't know what's going on here. If they decided waiting on 4. Simple enough. Hey, we hope you guys are enjoying. We hope you guys are enjoying your Friday nights. It is not a school night. At least I assume for most of you, it's not a school night. If today is a school night, that would really suck for you. But we appreciate you taking a bit of your Friday night. Maybe you're cuddling up in bed. Maybe you realize, ooh, Popgun and Magic are commentating tonight. Those guys will put me to sleep for sure. Maybe you're just finishing up some homework so that you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. Maybe you've been enjoying this lovely weather we've been having here in the Midwest recently. Suspiciously lovely for the month of March. Yeah, I guess we've talked this set to death, so we're just patiently waiting for this thing to go in. Again, Nonsense had a bye, so I guess it's understandable if they weren't just playing a set.
Yeah, a couple of them are probably in solo or something, you know.
Who knows? I'm doing good, Jardonian. Thank you for asking.
Jardon.
Oh wait, no, Tugboat. They're not talking to us. Nobody's talking to us.
Sag. I see a Endgame in chat. Shoutouts to Endgame TV. Just in general. Shoutouts to everyone behind the scenes working right now, including Nitro. We love you, buddy.
Nitro is in-game TV, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong. Ta-da.
So, Popgun.
Yes. What's up, Magic?
Let's say I'm the owner of a Splatoon team, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm supposed to know all the players. You know, we got... Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. You seem to be going somewhere with this.
So you come here often?
Do I come here often? Yes, I do, actually. I do. I've been in this. We've been commentating a couple of these tournaments together. I know you come here often as well. Always enjoy the opportunity to get some things going here. Why am I being DM'd?
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no, the higher ups are coming for us.
They are actually.
Chat, remember us. Remember us when we were getting silenced.
Let me ask you a question. Have you been in this scenario before of like you have a bye and then like before the tournament, like you know you're gonna have like 30 minutes or something after you've been playing for a set amount of time in the tournament. How do you take care of that bye? Like I feel like a lot of teams just kind of bash their way through league and just get more frustrated and angry, and then they just come into the set with like a lot of bad energy, negative energy going into that. Me personally, I don't even touch the game. Like I'll just go for a walk with the dog or something. Yeah, like
literally just get up and walk away. That's what most teams should do, especially this late into the set, and especially this late into the tournament, because this tournament is deep. And right now we are back in Top Cut round 2. with Fantasy versus Nonsense, the semi-final match in Testing Grounds 12. And Pop Gun, we do see the Vanilla Carbon on the side of Fantasy, as well as the Junior. And on the side of Nonsense, we actually see the Kensagal and the Blah Blah Verdeco.
Yeah, the bathtub making an appearance. So, a good painting comp. I like the idea. If you want to deal with the roller, put a lot of paint on the ground, make it hard for the move. But with 3 players immediately going down, Fantasy with this question mark player, who knows who that actually is, going in to get their first score, throwing in 2 clams. This could get ugly as in there. They're in a very good situation to create a lockout here. And a lot of clams to follow up this push as well.
And that Carbon's going up that far side and is able to take out one. Lost coming in, trying to find Pika, is able to do so. And this Clam's still coming in. You see the Clam spawn right behind Sunshine. They're still coming in. There's 2 players up. There's actually 1 Clam hiding behind that rail, but I don't think Lost sees it. I think Lost is a bit focused on getting the kill right now and is able to do so. This Clam basket is still open and 2 Clams coming in, trying to find it. And 1 more does come in. Fantasy's trying to knock this out, and they're not going to be able to. 1 minute gone, and it is already 91 points on the board for Fantasy in this first push.
Yeah, one team looks like they played in round 1, and the other team looks like they had the bye, and it looks like Nonsense coming out a little bit rusty in that minute and a half, and it's definitely costing them here. Obviously, this isn't something they can't come back from, as 2 players for Fantasy goes down, and they do get a push off. And taking down Lost there, that will keep this... Killing Lost is going to keep this push alive a little bit longer. The question is just going to be, how long can they keep this open? I don't know if it's going to be enough to get lead, but they're doing some... if they got that power glam in, that would have been huge. And it looks like Steffi's coming around the back door, and they're going to keep it open and get
for that long.
This push is going to keep going.
Okay, I think they took everyone out. Wait, Pika's here. No, still back up in mid.
Still in the back,
Toast stayed alive for so long, and can I also comment on the Kensagal's Booyah placement? That was so deceptive. Threw it at the basket, and it ended up taking down the sniper on the side of Fantasy. Really clutch plays there, and I think that Nonsense woke up a little bit after that push. They were like, all right, we're not having any of this, and now it looks like they're finally getting back a lot of control. Lost going down after jumping back to that sniper and pop gun. What do you do when you're getting locked out like this and you have a Carbon?
Look, you just need to wait. You need to let the points bleed for a little bit. You got a lot of points to hold on to keep this lead, but when you're funneling in like this, Toast and Steffi, the last 2 players left in, trying to take these fights, and somehow are winning this like 2v4 situation somehow. In points. Okay, so it looks like their Fantasy was able to kind of snuff that out, and they add to the lead a little bit. But yeah, if you're lost, like... You should be fine with surrendering a little bit of points here. Now the situation's a little bit more dire. There's not as much penalty points. You don't have as much of a natural lead as you once did. But you can't just throw this game away by being too hyper aggressive and getting into kills. As Lost gets a nice pick there, but Lost being the last player left alive, once again, it looks like Nonsense has woken up, and they might have all the tools they need to get the lead right here.
Here's a great inkjet from Fusion. Pika's hiding under the basket, able to take down 1 as Toast and Steffi come back from mid. They're going to camp this inkjet spot. Yeah, that's going to take them down. And this lead in the past 2.5-ish minutes has gone from 90 points down to only 20, which is just insane that Nonsense has been able to chip away at this for that consistently for that long. Unfortunately, get overextending just a little bit now. Looks like they're funneling a little bit, and Fantasy is able to come back into the middle area. But what I think was the real key is, as Sunshine comes in and tries to dunk this power climb, and they do it, is going to be this sniper. Bandit on this whole Firefin splatter scope is going to be the real key. Bandit was the first one down for a lot of those pushes for Nonsense, and I think is going to be the real linchpin for keeping Fantasy together and keeping Fantasy alive.
I don't understand why Fantasy went in and scored right there. They didn't get anything out of it. Instead, they just get wiped. So they had control of mid, and now they just give it basically a gift, giving mid right back to control of Nonsense, and they're throwing all their specials right out here. Pika's going to pop the basket, and there's not a lot standing in their way now from getting the lead. 1v1, actually. This could be a 1v1 for the game. Fusion, the last player left alive. They do have enough clams to get lead, but Fusion does get taken out, and they just need one more, and they get lead off of that. Toast around the left side, pops Inkjet, immediately gets taken down, but this is going to be a KO, and Nonsense got punched in the face in the first minute and said, thank you, we needed that. And over the course of the next 4 minutes, death by paper cuts, and really, Magic, really, it came down to fantasy. I don't understand why they went into score there at around that 1 minute mark.
They thought that they had more control than they did. I guarantee that's what they were, they said, finally we have some breathing room. Let's take it. Let's use it. Let's try and just chip this down, end it while we still can, because these people are bleeding us out. And they ended up just cutting themselves even further.
When you get a huge lead like that, sometimes you get really excited, and maybe you're not expecting to get that lead because you're like, oh, they're the number 2 seed, and you get that lead early on, and then you play nervously the rest of the game, and you're like, what? I can't make the mistake to lose this game, and they just kept making the mistakes. And credit to Nonsense for capitalizing off of all of those kind of nervous plays Fantasy was making there. So that's where experience kind of shows there. You talked about Nonsense being the more experienced team. It definitely showed in that game right there.
Mental. It's all mental, and I can guarantee you, especially with the way I was seeing Lost diving for kills at the end there, especially in those last 2 minutes, you could tell that they were scrambling. Whereas Nonsense was not spouting nonsense. They kept it composed. They kept their pants on, and they were able to take this one for the win. But Tower Control Schellendorf is going to be a very different game.
Can you run Carbon Roller here? I don't...
You can. I sometimes do it because it's really nice with that ledge. Like when you're trying to get people off of roof on top left after you're going towards that second checkpoint, and it's just kind of just good on tower because of the way it works around ledges. But it's not great. Probably still gonna see it because Lost does a one trick. Yeah.
And we do see a ballpoint coming out for Nonsense. So we're going to have an Anchor v Anchor battle, probably at the top of the glass. Pika doubling down, sticking with that Blobobbler. No, we've seen the Bathtub be effective in these SOS tournaments as Pika able to take down Bandit with the Bathtub. But this does look like a situation where Fantasy can get some points early as a lot of players starting to push around that left side. Steffi not going for the tower with the ballpoint, instead trying to keep control of the glass, now firing at the tower, but the first checkpoint will fall, as do 2 players of Nonsense. So here we go. Fantasy on a roll yet again to start the game.
Top Gun, I've seen this one before. Top Gun, I don't want to see this happen again. 2 down again on the side of Nonsense. Make that 3. Sunshine's going on a tear on top of this roof. This is getting pushed all the way to the 3rd checkpoint. If it gets past that, it's almost curtains for Nonsense. I mean, we've seen them kill comebacks before. This Bomb Rush able to do wonders on this tower, but the Junior is able to hop right back on afterwards. Finally, they're almost all down. This gets pushed to 4 this time. 1 minute, and again, Fantasy comes out absolutely swinging.
Yes, but we know Nonsense doesn't care. their mindset was, look, just make sure they don't KO us, and we'll just slowly bleed them dry over the next 3.5 minutes. And here we go. It was 1 checkpoint at a time for tower control here. Steffi riding the tower, and we do have a trade, and it looks like the glass is somewhat clear, except for question mark up there. So it looks like they will clear this first checkpoint, and that's going to be the key here for Nonsense. 1 checkpoint at a time. You don't have to hit a home run right off the bat, and you got tons of time to work with, and I'm pretty sure they're aware of that. As they got a triple. Make this, Lost somehow getting a nice trade with the Inkjet, but it's not going to save this other checkpoint.
Unfortunately not, and I thought that Fantasy was going to do the smart thing, and when 2 people were coming at their front mid and just focus on tower, but they sent a bunch of people back to try and protect Bandit, and unfortunately it cost them a good bit of pointage. Now, unfortunately, that's a huge wipe. We saw some great picks off of Sunshine on the roof there, able to take out a good player and then spiral from that with a good shot from Bandit. And so because of that, this is going to look at least doable for Nonsense. Not the best, but doable as this Bomb Rush comes out for Bandit.
Yeah, and Fantasy's playing for the KO here. I like that. You should be now that you got the man advantage, but if you're Fantasy, the best thing you can do is keep that tower deep onto Nonsense's side of the map. If anything, it will slow down counter pushes. As we do see, this looks like this push is going to be stalling out here. Toast forcing that last player to jump out, so they should be able to get control of mid, if anything here. But those deep pushes, even though they're not adding to their lead, they're bleeding the clock and not having any permanent damage done right back to them. So that's the difference of tower control versus Clan Blitz as far as Fantasy holding on to this lead.
Toast is putting so much pressure onto Bandit here. Unfortunately, I was not able to find Bandit with that Inkjet. And now the return kill from being swatted at like a fly, saying, alright, I've had enough of you. It's time to be put in your place. Lost going a little too far forward there, ends up getting taken down by the Rapid Blaster. And Bandit hopping off this tower in a little bit of a sticky situation. Again, they're going to jump out even though they used armor. A little bit of a strange usage there, and Fantasy is just kind of playing this chicken and duck game. I don't know if I used the analog correctly, but it works out really well because after coming back, Lost is able to clean up with the carbon.
Chicken and duck. Okay. You know what's hot? You know why they can afford to just pop that armor and jump back? It's because they've already popped off 11 armors as a team here. And it's given Lost, their carbon roller, opportunity to kind of push up and get the kills that they need to keep this game from getting out of control in their favor. And time is really running out here. A 2 checkpoint lead. You got to think this is going to be one of the last opportunities Nonsense has here to make sure their ducks catch up to the chickens, as you would say.
Game of chicken, we do see that Toast comes trying to put on a lot of pressure on this top left area, and unfortunately gets taken down. Fusion on the Inkjet tries to get a fancy kill, is unable to do so, and just like Toast is going to get taken down. And this is looking like it's going to be sealed the deal for Fantasy. They're riding this tower, they're putting it so far into the enemy base, they got 3 members up on this low ground, and this question mark player not able to secure the kill onto Steffi, but it looks like it really doesn't matter as it's a 2v2 situation. There's rain on the tower, and that's going to be a game going to Fantasy.
And you know what? That's a good win for them to have. If they had gotten the KO, that would have been great, but the fact that they got a huge lead and held on to it this time, that's going to do a lot for their mentality over the course of the rest of the stack. Mm-hmm. My goodness, 20 KA. You know what the real issue here is?
What's that?
13 armors popped off between those 2 players. That basically takes the blaster out of this game.
Oh yeah.
Almost completely. And I mean, that's kind of the difference here. And I know some people in chat might be frustrated that somebody used double armor. Who cares? What are they supposed to do? Not try to win the game? Come on,
yeah, honestly,
worked out really well for them right there.
Against the Rapid Blaster of all things, and you've got like 3 short range players. What do? You run double armor. It makes sense. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, and it can lead to some scary situations. But they ended up pushing to 4 in the first minute, so they've got to be doing something right?
Yeah, this is a close set. This looks like we're in for an absolute treat here between these 2 teams. A lot of fireworks on both sides. We know that no matter, as long as there's still time on the clock, either team can win a game. Mm-hmm. And now we're heading to Splat Zones at Muscle Forge Fitness. A map mode, I guess we don't see a whole heck of a lot in tournaments. It's still viable for sure. Yeah. And I guess the question is going to be, what does, if anything, does Nonsense change up on their comps? We've seen that they got a little bit of flexibility. Is this a pickup team, we're assuming, or a project or something, whatever the kids are calling them days? Okay, cool. So usually with that, you got a little bit of flexibility in what you can use comp-wise, especially depending on what players you bring into this. So now that you know what Fantasy likes to do, you've seen Fantasy, you know what their comp is basically going to be. Can Nonsense switch that up a little bit to kind of take advantage of what Fantasy is throwing at them? And as we see them readying up, still coming out with that bathtub, a little bit more paint, it looks like, with the Neo Splash and the K52. So no anchor this time around, but doubling down with that blaster, once again going to have to deal with the armor, but the crap is going to do a little bit better job with that torpedo.
It's actually the same composition that we saw from game 1. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
And it's from Nonsense. This is the same exact comp we see from game 1, and from Fantasy it's the same comp we see from game 2. So both of them trying to say, okay, this worked, let's go with it. And it's already a bloodbath in mid, as this zone still isn't totally capped. It finally goes to Fantasy. Toast back on this Splash-O-Matic, which we saw in the first game, which I really, really like, even though that time it was the one with the Inkjet. We do see the Junior going down on the side of Fantasy, getting taken down by Steffi, and now Steffi gets taken out as well on that Kensagal. The Bomb Rush coming out, but it's looking like it's just going to get painted over with the Bomb Rush of their own on the side of Fantasy, and this is already taken down to 40. Lost with the Carbon Roller, finds Toast sharking, and just tears him apart. This Kensagal hiding behind that wall, able to defend from that Carbon Roller. It looks like Fantasy just turned their nose away from the zone for about 5 seconds, and it was capped instantly. So great comeback from Nonsense, and here they go with their lockout.
Yeah, that was an interesting comeback because, like you said, the Toast's Bomb Rush didn't have anything to follow up with it, so it didn't really effectively do anything, and then they lost track of Lost, and got picked off there. But yeah, the rest of the players spawning back in were able to get control of the lead of the zone. I don't know if they'll get lead here, especially with 2 players going down, making that 3 Bandit, getting some nice picks there before the ink wall gets set up, and they're in an opportunity to lock out here. But you know, we talk about double armor on the side of Nonsense. No armor. All their specials are built around getting control of zone. So if they pop them together, they can do some damage here. But it's going to be hard to get these picks with Fantasy basically having everything they need to hold on here.
I really like this Bomb Rush from Bandit. Not only did it push a lot of pressure onto the enemy roof, but it also prevented this cap from happening too early. And now, unfortunately, he's getting shot at from Toast. But the zone still goes in the favor of Fantasy because the Junior's in the zone and he's just painting it. There's a Rapid and there's a Splash-O-Matic, and the Splash-O-Matic was chased away from the zone for a little bit. Finally, this Junior goes down, and that's going to be the cap going over to Fantasy. But it or to Nonsense, excuse me. But Fantasy did a great job of holding on and preventing the lead from getting way too far. Toast gonna try and cross this bridge, and Popgun. We saw Fantasy break out one time, but it looks like that Nonsense just has a stronger hold.
Well, when Fantasy broke out, it was too much damage done. And 3 players going down here. Bandit's not going to be able to hold on to the zone, even though they're using Bomb Rush. They ultimately go down. Oh, a random bomb that takes down Pika, but it's not going to be enough. Too many players left alive in zone. That is going to be lead for Nonsense. And as you just look at the comps here, even if Fantasy can find a way to come back, you got the sense that Nonsense's comp is going to do a little bit of a better job holding on to control of this zone. Armor coming out here, so they're going to have to push in with their bodies. Sunshine getting a nice kill there, and it looks like they'll get control of zone. But honestly, if you're Nonsense at this point in the game, just build up your specials, and it's going to be very difficult for Nonsense or from Fantasy to stop that.
Exactly, but it looked like Toast especially was going in for that kill, really wanted that insurance, and ended up getting taken down for it and just spiraled into a bunch of quick kills on the side of Fantasy for Sunshine there. And now Lost is sharking, able to find Steffi as they're trying to break back in. This Bomb Rush going out, but Lost sharking on this ledge, preventing Pika from getting
they held it.
Zone. That was a fantastic slay. Fusion and Steffi trying to paint the zone just one last time. The lead does go over to Fantasy. The paint comes out just a little bit, but now it's just a Rapid Blast stream with Blob Bomber in the zone, and there's too much going on for the side of Fantasy, and that's going to be another game taken at the last possible second.
Bruh, this is a good set. This is a good set. Okay, so they threw the Booyah Bomb at the zone and then followed it up. I believe they popped both of their Suction Bomb rushes at the same time, and it still wasn't enough to cap the zone. I'm really impressed by that. I think it had to do with Lost getting the pick on the K-Gal so that they couldn't add paint to it and then coming back and helping out as well. So Fantasy there, a very impressive comeback. But, I mean, once again, another nice back-and-forth game. Both teams had leads late into the set. They seem to be pretty even with each other. And now we're going to be heading into a Game 4, Rainmaker at Manta Maria, a map that kind of favors a little bit more longer-range weapons than what both teams used that last set. But so far, this one might just come down to Bandit versus whatever kind of they might use the ballpoint here like they used in Game 2 for Nonsense. Who knows? It might just come down to Anchor v. Anchor here on a map like this.
It might. Bandit's going to have the run of the mill with this place, if I'm guessing. Even though ballpoint's really strong here, like Splatlings, especially on that high mast area in the middle of the map, is going to be really important to control. If Bandit can get a good position set up on the far right side, using that little cover it's going to be really hard to take him out. And especially when you're looking at trying to support the Carbon here in mid, I'm expecting the switch to Carbon Deco. I'm not certain, but I'm expecting it, especially but it's Rainmaker, so who knows. It's going to be really hard for the Carbon to get set up into the good spots here because it's on a slow mode, because it's a really fast mode like Rainmaker. So let's see how they get around that, and if they're able to play around these ledges like they really want to. I'm super excited.
And they are not going to use an anchor here. Bandit using the C-Jet. Hey, C-Jet on Rainmaker wins you tournaments.
Yes.
And look at not a whole heck of a lot of range from either side. So if you're the C-Jet, you're kind of the king of the castle here as far as range is concerned. But Nonsense coming out with this more aggressive, this faster comp, and it's already got them a pick. Make that 2. So Nonsense in a position to be the aggressor for the first in the opening push, which is something they have not done this entire set. Oh, that's a huge pick on CJ.
Oh, that's a huge pick. Finally, they're able to stop this with the Junior, but the ground is already green, and Pika's just going to keep going. Finally, the C-Jet's able to take down this Rainmaker, stopping it at 28, which is not certainly winning, but it's going to be very hard for Fantasy to take out. Bandit trying to go for this exit frag here, unable to do so. Just barely missing out on the range, missing the range of that charger, if I'm guessing. Has the Ray charged, but it looked like at the B opening, Lost was going for a flank along with Sunshine and the Junior player, and just was unable to find the right spots. As Bandit's getting caught out after using this Ray, finally gets out of it, is able to maybe trade out. No, Pika takes out Bandit. And although they looked like they had a chance to push this Rainmaker, Fusion able to stop it. Lost gets taken down by Pika, dancing around in mid. Wait a minute, how did he find that pick on the Sunshine? Pika's crazy on this Bloblobber, okay? I don't care. Like, I love Fantasy as much as the next guy, right? And I would love to see them take this win. But Pika's insane.
This might be one of the only tournaments you'll see all year where a Blobobbler kills a vanilla Carbon Roller. You heard that right. But here we see a bit of a flip of a script from what we've seen this entire set so far. Fantasy is now the team that's on their heels early. Nonsense with the team with the bigger opening push. So this is the first time we've seen Fantasy in this situation of having to come from behind deep. They have an opportunity to do it right here. A little bit ill-advised to push a Rainmaker right there, knowing Toast was able to get a pick, should be able to take down Bandit on that C-Jet. So a good defense here for Nonsense. And the question is going to be, are they going to keep being aggressive? Are they going to try to add to their lead? Or are they just going to turtle up here? Their comp would suggest they're going to keep being aggressive. But right now, it looks like they're just trying to get control of mid and let the Rainmaker reset on its own.
Here comes the Bomb Rush, and now the benefit of the armor finally for the side of Nonsense, and they're able to use that to the full advantage by using this Inkjet in tandem, able to find the pick onto the Junior as well as the NZAP from earlier. And this looks like it's going to be a really strong push. We do see Lost trying to take down this Rainmaker on this this jump across area here. Lost doesn't get taken out quite yet. Okay, finally goes down. And now it's looking like it has a clear path for the Rainmaker. Sunshine able to try to intercept, able to take down 2. That's 3 down on the side of Nonsense, but it's pretty deep into the enemy base. Gonna try and get control of mid here. But there's a Bloblobber hiding somewhere and gets taken down again. The Sunshine cannot find a break fighting this Bloblobber.
Oh, this is so entertaining. It looks like the Rainmaker will reset once again, but Nonsense being the aggressor. But here we go, 2 players down, and this Stingray trying to shark out one more player to pick up, and control of mid is in Fantasy's favor. They got a minute and a half to work with, so plenty of time to get this lead. All they really need is a good 5 seconds, and they can get lead and end this game. In this push here, they're adding, it looks like they're going around the left side there. Rainmaker getting taken down, but once again, 2 more players going down for the side of Nonsense, but the Bathtub being the last one left alive. Bathtub does a really good job of popping the Rainmaker, but popping it right now might just work to the advantage. That Toxic Mist coming out at a perfect time. That forces Bandit to back up and fall into a trap by Fusion. A very good hold here, and they get the wipe. That looked really scary for Nonsense, but the right kind of players were alive at the right time, and they're able to hold on to their lead.
really think that wasting that Ray earlier in mid was really crucial for the success of this push going on, as Bandit just kind of walked across the mid and into the bunker and just kind of did nothing for a whole 20 seconds while their team was pushing on the left side of the map. So I really don't like that. But what I did like was that adjustment from Fantasy in general. I liked how they were taking it to the top left area, and now looks like they're able to collapse in onto this Rainmaker. Unfortunately, Sunshine going down, but it looks like there's a lot of chip damage on the side of Nonsense. They're able to take down 2 from the side of Fantasy. We see this Junior coming in, trying to find the Rainmaker. Lost as well, trying to play around this here. Also, I just noticed now that is the Carbon Deco variant. This is going to be the final push. We do see the Ray coming on.
I just noticed that as well.
We do see the Ray finally coming out.
Ray. Go ahead.
We do see the Ray coming out, and Pika's with this Bloblobber trying to find this Rainmaker on way back in mid as Fantasy is way up in the enemy base. But now it's looking like they're going to dive down for it. Wait, maybe not just yet. The last 2 players alive are Fusion, and it looks like Toast. Can Toast find this pick on the Rainmaker before it gets too late? No, it's going to get taken down. That's going to be the set going to Fantasy. That's the set going to Fantasy.
This is not the same Fantasy team we saw in Game 1. The team that got the huge lead early and then nervously choked it away over the course of 4 minutes. How they mentally came back from that loss in Game 1 to being this team that held on to the lead in Game 2, that was able to make the right plays at the right moment to win a back-and-forth battle in Game 3, to clutch out the push there in Game 4. This is not the same Fantasy team we saw in Game 1, and they looked really sharp and mentally. We talked about experience. Fantasy grew up over this set.
Oh, 100%. Can I get some fantasies for +2 in chat? Like,
well,
damn, that was strong. That was a really strong showing from them. They pushed Nonsense to the limit and beyond.
A very good set. Welcome to Testing Grounds. I think after a set like that, we should take a break instead of awkwardly talking through the through the filler arc here. We will be coming back shortly with grand finals. It is going to be obviously Fantasy, and it looks like Universal got the revenge against Cataclysm 3-1. So we're going to be giving you guys Universal versus Fantasy. This is going to be a really hype set to close out the tournament. We will be right back. You are watching Testing Ground 12 on IPL. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Grand Finals of Testing Ground 12. At some point in the distant future, after another high-level team disbands and somebody makes a twit longer talking about how this community is falling apart, it is completely dead. We're going to be looking back at this set between Universal versus Fantasy, two teams that are clearly on the rise. And it could be a good rivalry going forward because it seems like these two teams are heading or around the same skill level at the same spot, heading towards the same kind of bright future that we are expecting from both of these teams.
And bright is right, and loud as well, because they were spamming those A buttons in the chat in the private battle. This is going to be a fantastic set against teams that I believe know each other and respect each other and are going to be very evenly matched. And we see Woof coming out with the Squiffer, and we see Lost on the Carbon, and Mondo Nerd on the Octobrush. Is this a Western tournament? I don't think so.
Well, these are the weapons that that got these two teams up to this point. Last we saw Universal, they were hyper-aggressive. Fantasy, their double armor comp, putting a lot of pain on the ground. Ford lost to work with on that Carbon Roller. These two strategies working together, and three players immediately going down for Fantasy. Bishop pushing up, and this could be a dangerous push here. That is the Fire Fin, so they're going to have Bomb Rush instead of Stingray, so no automatic Stingray to shut down. Actually, this is Tower Control, not Rainmaker, so they won't get... I was wondering why the score wasn't going up as quickly as I was expecting. Regardless, this first checkpoint will fall, and possibly a whole lot more as Bandit finally goes down there.
Yeah, Bandit's going down here. It's going to be a really, really bad time for Fantasy as well. We do see Archer getting taken down on the Kensa splatter shot, but this tower is still getting pushed by Woof. Lost trying to find a little bit of room, trying to find a little bit of ground to break back in, is able to do so. The rain going down, and we see Lost moving around already back to mid, trying to chase out Woof here. But now turns around and says, okay, need to reel it back in. Let's take care of this Kensa shot who's bothering everybody on my team, is able to do so. Now getting point center. That point center is actually going to be really key here for finding this Carbon Roller, and for anyone else who might be sharking. We saw Lost at the beginning of the game. I don't know if you saw, but the death marker was actually way up into the Universal side of the base, so it looked like they had gone for a flank, but were unsuccessful to do so. But now it looks like they're pushed up very solidly with the team, and this is looking like it's going to be a pain train for Universal. Monitor able to take down Lost just barely, but Bandit, I believe, returning the kill barely. This is going to be intense.
Yeah, you just kind of turn the corner and all of a sudden there's an Octobrush waiting for you that you weren't really expecting. So kind of clashing ideologies here of kind of the same thing. They're Lost with the Carbon Roller is going to be flanking the whole time. Well, on the flip side, Universal is going to say, okay, we're just going to send our Octobrush around the corners as well. So it's going to come down to who can kind of watch their flanks here, especially on a map as flank heavy as this one. It's just going to be who can make sure to keep their frontliners safe and comfortable. And right now, it looks like Universal's doing the better job of that as Archer's pushing way up into the enemy base. And I love this positioning. That's a huge area to control for the second checkpoint. And but they're doing a great job. Lost coming down on this tower, trying to chase down Whoop, and is going to get the kill. So that is a huge stop there for Fantasy. It looked like they could have done a lot of damage right there.
It looked like Lost was about to just wipe the enemy team alone. Unfortunately, unable to do so. That was like you said, a great position from Archer. Like, did you see them start off that push? They dropped down from mid and just ran at the enemy team with armor, with Inkjet. That was great coordination on the side of Universal. And again, we see a great 2v1 here, thanks to the sharking from Mondo Nerd. Armor is not going to be able to save you from those Octobrushes, as they're just going to keep going in one by one by one. We do see Lost trying to make a little bit of room here for herself, using those Autobombs to try and space it out, get control of this little sliver of mid that they have left to prevent this push from going out. But we see Archer on the other side finally chase her out, and it's looking like the middle of this map is now green.
You know, it feels like Universal's been in control this entire time, but in reality, there's just a half a checkpoint lead here. And killing Mondo Nerd, that's been huge. Mondo Nerd has been way too comfortable throughout this set, and they don't realize Bishop's up in the snipe as they take down the player riding the tower, and it looks like Universal's once again going to be able to get control of mid here. But still, looking at the scoreboard, just a half a checkpoint lead. So this isn't, Fantasy doesn't have to play fantastic over the course of this 5-minute game. They just need to play good for about another 20 seconds or so. It's going to be difficult to do with Mondo Nerd getting as many kills as they have been, but a lot of paint kind of contesting for mid here. This game might come down to who can get the first pick, and 2 players go down for Fantasy. This could be the opportunity they need to
and there goes
hold this game open.
Bandit's going to be the linchpin to try and break back into this map. Bandit really hasn't been doing a whole lot. I think this map is just not one of their strong suits in terms of Charger gameplay. And because of that, we see Universal's way up in the enemy base. And part of the team of Fantasy just decides, all right, screw you guys, we're going to go towards the tower. Is able to do so, and they take down 3 members of Universal, actually, and he's trying to clean up Bishop in the last, and Lost does. They've got 10 seconds. This is going to go to be an overtime push, and they need to be super duper solid. They need to go to all the right positions. They need to get up onto that snipe area, but it doesn't look like they're doing so. They're opting to just wait it out right here in the foreground. They've got the rain. They've got the specials ready. They popped the armor once. Here comes the rain. Here comes the bomb launcher. Lost, able to find Monitor. That's a great pick.
Huge.
And pop gun.
That is a huge pick right there. But nobody's around the tower. It's just Bandit riding. Now they're starting to collapse on. They just need the dance on the tower, but 2 players go down. Sunshine still on the tower, just a few points away, and they get wiped. What a close match there. But once again, we're talking about, it felt like Universal was in control for most of that game. Just a little bit of pushes here and there. Fantasy had their windows, but that seemed like a dominant, close win, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For Universal in game 1 there.
They knew their win condition, and they played to that. Even though it looked like it was close, they knew what they were doing the entire time. Like in that last push, they threw bombs. They let the torpedoes do the damage. They let the rapid blaster do the damage that they needed to, and were patient and waited, probably until the last possible second, but they did what they needed to get that win.
And with Fantasy here, we talked about them being a little bit inexperienced last set, but they kind of grew up. They got more experience over the course of that set. They played like the smarter team over the course of the set that got them into this match here. You got to think, what adjustments are they going to make? Now they've seen Universal. Now they see what they kind of throw at them. They realize this is going to be kind of in a sense, a mirror match as far as the ideologies that teams are pulling out here. Sure, there's double armor on one side and one, if no armor's on the other, but there's always going to be that one person that's trying to get behind you. And it's just going to come down to, it really is going to come down to both the Charger from Bandit and the Woomps Squiffer. They opt to keep going with that as to who can keep everybody safe from behind so that they can keep pushing forward.
I really think it's going to be a key component of this game is going to be whether or not Fantasy decides to switch off of double armor and go for something a little bit more aggressive. You know, using something like missiles on the Kensa splatter shot to displace Universal and, you know, separate them. I think that's going to be really key, because most of the time what we saw was Universal just moving as a unit, moving together and with the rapid blaster and with the chip damage. And I don't know if Monitor was necessarily going behind the enemy team as much as just being an absolute nuisance with the rapid blaster around corners where Fantasy was going to be overextending. I think that's the real key here. And I think that if he's waiting those correct corners, I think that Universal Fantasy needs to scope him out a lot better and just prevent Universal from getting those really key setups, those key outposts on the rapid blaster by being a little bit more aggressive. And I really like the Kensa Gale pick here in response.
Yes, dropping the double armor, and immediately the armor user goes down. So we don't really get a chance to talk about anything because Universal here has an opportunity to get something going. Blaster, Baller getting pushed up here, trying to create some space for the Rainmaker, and Ray's coming out very quickly to try to shut down this push. So, and it looks like cleaned up by that Ray as well. So 3 players down. That is the end of the push for Universal, and not really anything substantial as far as on the scoreboard off of that push as well. So Bandit picking up the Rainmaker. That means they're not going to have Stingray to work with. That's fine. They are popping armor, but one player does go down before they can do anything with that armor. Bandit opting to take the Rainmaker around that right side. It gets taken down by a flanking Archer. I didn't realize they were back there.
I didn't realize. No, I didn't realize at all. Archer was so sneaky, missed even the commentator's eye. And if you're that sneaky, well, you deserve that pick. And so now we see Universal full frontal. We see Bishop being so aggressive, flanking on this Rapid, is able to take down Swift. And that's 3 down on the side of Fantasy, and this is looking real scary as it's only this Kensagal left, trying to fend off, using that wall to keep people away, trying to paint them out. We do see Monitor flapping that brush away. We do see the Booyah Bomb able to stop the Rainmaker in its tracks. A great use by Sunshine. And now, Universal with a very strong push. This is Rainmaker Blackbelly. Don't forget, anything can happen. But that's a really strong push.
Yeah, it just takes a bad 5 seconds and this game is completely flipped on its head. I loved Bishop's positioning there, pushing up right down the middle, realizing nobody is there, so I'm just going to move up and just take advantage of all the kits that my weapon has. Been using Baller really well here. Fantasy getting an opportunity to get a push off. That Booyah Bomb, if it was a little bit closer, would have ate all of those suction bombs that were thrown at them. Might have been enough to get lead, but here they go. Oh, actually, this is the other team. This is the defending team getting the wipe. So I thought that we had an opportunity for something there, but once again, Universal shutting down the push. But again, we're just now getting to the halfway mark here.
It's now getting to the halfway, and each team has had one strong push. Ray able to take down one here, maybe 2. Maybe with the help of the others a little bit. No, not able to do so. And because of that, these teams are feeling each other out. These teams are saying, okay, we're gonna need to make these big pushes, right? Now the game is gonna change a little bit. It's gonna be all about going in hard, going in with all of their specials, and defending with all of their specials to take care of everyone. Bandit able to take down that Inkjet, super key, as that's gonna be a lot of offensive pressure lost from Mono Nerd. Swift on this Rainmaker able to move up just a little bit, but we see Archer flanking one more time, and they don't take him out once again. Able to use that cover, able to use the mobility on the Splash-O-Matic to his advantage, and takes out the Rainmaker and takes out the supporters as well.
You know, we've seen basically big both teams have been trying to throw out big pushes this entire time, literally from the start of the match. Both teams have been looking for blood. There hasn't been a lot of patience. It's just been grab Rainmaker and go and see what we can get with it. But if you're Fantasy here, yeah, you're going to need to find ways to slow it down. Try to get an exaggerated push going here. You don't have to get it all at once. You can dive, pop it, pick it right back up. But loss here. I said floss. What's going on? Trying to find a way to get a few picks here. Inkjet going off. Baller is ready from Bishop. One player going down. Somehow slipping through all of that ink. I don't think they realized it. And now they got to turn their attention back towards the roller. They do get the pick there, and it doesn't look like that was anything Fantasy could capitalize off of. So an opportunity to make something happen, and with the Rainmaker just kind of stalled out here, it looks like Fantasy's just trying to find somewhere to go, and they aren't getting anything.
Lost on this Carbon, finally able to find something. Very unfortunate that they were unable to capitalize on that great sneak-in that they had originally.
Explode. It's going to explode.
Oh, it's going to explode? Is it going to happen? Yeah. I think that they're waiting it out, yeah.
Luckily, didn't take any teammates down with you. That is a friendly fire explosion if it happens on your own.
This is Grand Finals. And we just saw Universal stall out a Rainmaker to the point of exploding.
It went nowhere with, like, they basically just held the losing team just held it in mid for basically a full minute and died with it. The Stingray's going to get the pick on Wound. So this is going to set up an opportunity. That's a nice ink wall to keep that Baller from doing any more damage. So there is a chance here, but too many players are down. They're kind of stuck. They need to get it out of that snipe area first off, and they do that. But as they're retreating, once again, that timer's going to be ticking down. Bandit, who's been having a fantastic game so far, is dead as well. So they might not have a Stingray to work with. But yeah, they're playing really patient right now, which they have to do. But they're running out of time. They need to find a window and just strike while the iron is hot.
Oh, there's only 10 seconds left on this Rainmaker, and there's only 2 people alive. Yeah, no, that's going to be game. Taking a lead.
They kept backing up with it when they initially picked it up, and that just kind of speeds up the timer. And yeah, that would have been 2 explosions with the Rainmaker we saw there. And that's credit. That is credit to Universal.
Credit to Universal.
Universal didn't rush in. They didn't like, oh, we need to find a way to kill this Rainmaker. They were like, no, let's just close all these windows and just make sure they don't get past any of them. And that just shows the defense that Universal was able to pull out there with no Stingray either. Isn't that refreshing to see?
It is. And like they knew exactly what they were doing. They were like, all right, we have a chance to pick this up and shove it where it's never going to see the light of day again. And even though, because they knew they weren't going to get another push off. They knew that they couldn't hold it because of that Stingray. They've just been coming out frame one as soon as they pick up the Rainmaker every single time. So they did exactly what they could do and put it in the worst possible spot for Fantasy to push out of. I mean, it was just very intelligent tactical play from Universal for the entire last 2.5 minutes of the game.
You know, it kind of gets lost in the fact that Fantasy lost that set there, but Bandit had a really fantastic game, a complete flip from what their KAs was in game one. They were actually top fragging with the C-Jet there. So if you're Bandit, that's a good sign for you. I mean, you're probably not going to be using C-Jet going here to splash zones at Mako Mart. But just kind of that mentality maybe can help Fantasy get back into the set where it seems like Universal has basically flat out been the better team these first two games. In this, keep in mind, this is a best of 7 instead of a best of 5, which you've been seeing the last two games. So if Universal wins this one, it's still not over. But clock has struck midnight for us here in the Eastern time zone. But for Fantasy, the time's starting to run out.
Indeed it is. Splatzone's Mako Mart is going to be a very fun map for the Carbon if they can, get working around. I'm expecting to see Woomph go on the Swiffer, actually. I'm expecting to see them use the point sensors, make sure that Lost isn't getting anywhere. It isn't getting in any funny spots. Unfortunately, no. They're going to be going with a brush, with the ink brush, to keep that paint on the zone. Really short-range comp from Universal. And on the other side, the flip side, we see Sunshine on the vanilla Dually Squelchers, as well as Carbon Deco on the side of Lost. This is going to be a very strange set.
And Fantasy saying, a Bandit on Fantasy saying, you know what? I felt really good with that C-Jet. Let's just bring Stingray to this Splat Zone map and see what happens here. I like it. You popped off with it last game better than you did with Charger. Maybe they just think it helps paint better, or it'll help them locate with the Stingray these guys that are coming at them. But yeah, I like the adjustment for Fantasy as well with the that is a vanilla VDS actually with point sensor. So I guess they're trying to locate some players as well, but it doesn't really matter when all these points are going up on the board. Can Fantasy find a way to get a push going here? It looks like they're having a lot of difficulty just even at getting near the zone. Universal, once again, doing a good job of shutting things down. Lost blanket around the left side here, is able to get a pick on Mondo and get a double before going down themselves. But, they're not going to get lead off of this?
They all go down? Was Mondo able to finally just take out everyone that dropped? Was he sharking in the right spot? I guess so, and this is going to be 15 down. Bombs coming out, trying to paint this zone. Two dudes go down on the side of Universal, including that ink brush. There's going to be a lot of paint. This one's going down.
He survived! Oh my god.
Jump out? Did they think that the missiles were just going to get him? Oh my gosh, that was really clutch. Saving that armor pointage. But we do see armor up on the other side as well as the bomb rush. We see a lot of specials coming out on both sides as they're trying to recapture the zone. Lost trying to just take out this baller before any damage gets done. Able to take down the brush. And now here comes Lost trying to find the others. The Crapid able to baller just in time before getting taken down. And that torpedo was fantastically placed by Bishop on the Crapid to take out Lost and prevent that reign of terror from happening once again. The armor coming up again on the side of Universal. It looks like it's just up permanently, and it's getting so hard to play for Lost on this Carbon because of all those armors. Bishop finally getting taken down. It looks like they're going to have some breathing room on the side of Fantasy, and there goes one on the Stingray, able to find the pick. Bandit moving in.
That play earlier by Bishop was, okay, gosh, we can't even get an opportunity to talk because somebody gets shot in the back and we don't even realize they're there. But I was going to say, that play by Bishop about a minute ago was really huge. That was an opportunity for Fantasy to get lead. It was a 4v2 situation, and somehow that baller with the torpedo was enough to give control back to Universal. And we keep seeing plays like that. Universal has the special they need. It doesn't seem like they're getting completely wiped at any time. See, here, another situation, 3v2 situation. You think Fantasy is in control here, but they can't kill the last two guys, and there's somebody that takes down another player, and just like that, Universal finds a way to get control of the game again in these situations where it feels like they keep losing it, or should be losing it.
Yeah, it feels like they should be. It feels like Fantasy has just all of the right picks that they need to, and it feels like they have people in the positions that are really deep into Universal's territory. But it probably because of these ink mines, because of just the sheer amount of paint on the side of Universal, it's so hard to break back in. 12 count left, and here comes the penalties going down. The Ray able to come out. One does go down on the side of Universal. Swift in the zone trying to paint whatever they can, and it's looking like it's not going to be effective. Universal is playing pristine Splatoon.
Yes. Yes, they I mean, again, so many opportunities where it just seems like, okay, this is it. They're gonna lose a lot of points here, or Fantasy's gonna make their move or capitalize off the man advantage they have. But no matter what happens in this set, Universal never really surrenders control of the game to the other team,
right.
and even in situations where it seems like they should. So that kind of shows a good amount of coordination. The last two guys that are left alive are working together really well to find a way to even out the game back into their favor. And we talked about experience. Universal, experience or not, Universal looks like the more coordinated team up to this point.
I think that what they were doing was they were backing off of zone when Fantasy was coming in, when they've really had those man down advantages, and they just weren't wiping. I don't think Universal wiped that entire game. And because of that, they were always able to come back. They were always able to have somebody there in the zone pressuring and catching these overextensions, either by Lost or by whoever. And they gave up zone when they had to. If zone's going to get capped, might as well just let them cap it.
Now, the logic here that I think they went with, because using the C-Jet and VDS was strange. I think the logic they were going with was, let's fire Ray and missiles at the same time, because those two work really well together.
Yeah.
And missiles are obviously a really great special to just kind of chase people away from zone in general, but it didn't seem like there was ever an opportunity for them to combine those two things together, which seemed like the only reason why you would want to use C-Jet in that particular situation. Now we're heading into a game 4. If Universal wins this one, it's over. But if you want to do the same comp you kind of did on a map like Piranha Pit, you could probably get away with it. Stingray works out really well here.
It does. I think the main thing that they were thinking was that Universal is just hyper aggressive, and Bandit needs to get out of sticky situations, and using that burst bomb and the mobility of a shooter is really important for getting out of those situations. But I think even still, it wasn't really working. I think Bandit needs to just switch back, but they're still going with the C-Jet.
And that's the CDS, the normal one there. I was going to say, they also use point sensors a lot to kind of locate where all these guys are. I think they're having issues finding people, and that is the Carbon Deco coming out for Lost as well. So a slight just weapon variant change, and hey, it's working out for them right now. 2 players going down. This third one should die. That is a fight. Here we go. Fantasy, for the first time in this set, has something to work with.
They have a lead. Here comes Bandit with another power clam. We do see Monitor able to finally maybe make some room here. But no, gets burst bombed and then taken down. And that's 2 already down again for Universal. Here comes the Stingray to just clean them up one more time. The Stingray takes down Wolf, and Bishop is trying to get taken down as well. Sunshine is able to have one more clam to try and keep things extended. Here comes Swift with another. They've already got 4 more clams, and they're coming back in, but Universal might be set up just barely enough. Lost throwing in those clams. Here comes more! Universal isn't doing anything. Finally, here comes Mono to try and stop this down, but it's already gone! It's already done! That was a minute! Fantasy decided that they were finally wanted to win a game, and here it comes! Do I hear a closet door opening?
58-second clam bullets win only 1 kill on the side of Universal. It seemed like it seemed like the players on both teams just handed their controllers to somebody else right there. This was not the same Universal versus Fantasy set that we've seen so far. Wow. I mean, at what point Bandit was firing Stingray underneath the enemy basket? That's how in control Fantasy was that entire game. Oh my goodness.
Speech, I have no words.
Well,
It looked like Universal was just standing there, letting it happen.
I mean, it did. It just happened. 58. The team who needs to force a reverse sweep. Well, that's a good way to start. You got to win 4 straight games. Finish one game off in 58 seconds. Let's get on to the next one here.
Yeah, I heard
Tower
them already
control
ready
at the
up.
reef. They ready up so quickly.
They read up so quickly.
We should
And
be
this is
crossing the halfway point of game 2. Instead, we're already on the next game right here. Same comps? Yeah, same comp for fantasy. Roll it back. Why not?
Yeah, and I think we've switched off of Junior to decide instead wants to end this thing off with Squiffer because why the hell not? This is Testing Grounds 12 Grand Finals, and this is a great map for Carbon. We already see one pick going down just from that early Ray, and 3 go down on the side of Universal. Fantasy is back in this set. What is going on?
And it's going to come down to now Lost has an opportunity to get into position here in this street. This first checkpoint is going to fall, but oh my gosh, we don't see. Okay, Lost does go down, but does take one player here. First checkpoint, and Stingray on the tower, and that's going to be the last player left alive. There's no way they can survive that. So damage done, but it's clearly not something Universal can't come back from. Just one checkpoint isn't a lot, but still, the opening minute, this has been the best 2 minutes we've seen from Fantasy so far, and it's coming at the perfect time for them.
Yes, and you know they aren't playing the smartest still. You know they didn't have control of Alley before before Universal got there. As you see, Universal is now. They're up in that top left area as this push is coming to that checkpoint. We do see the Ray come out, and here comes the specials on the side of Universal and on the side of Fantasy. We do see the armor coming out from both sides. We see Sunshine trying to fight in the alleyway. The Crapid is ballering, and they're trying to go for tower to save face. Maybe they jump out. They do. And now, all of a sudden, that was essentially a wipe, and Fantasy has 20 points left to try and end this, save this game from ending, try and save the set from ending, but 2 go down. We see Sunshine all the way on the other side trying to take down people on this tower. And it's looking like it's not going to be enough. 2 go down, but that's not going to be enough. Universal takes the set 4-1 in a hard-fought grand finals.
Look, those last 2 games look like we just saw 2 completely different teams just take over control of the controllers here. A nice win in Universal. Just like that, somehow has taken this entire tournament and has won Testing Grounds 12 in a very exciting final 2 games to cap off a fantastic tournament. But for Universal, this has to feel good. Seeing both of these teams in this grand finals here was great to see for the future of what North America competitive Splatoon is going to be. But for Universal, heck of a win there.
That was incredible. They didn't get frazzled during that early push like they did in the Clan Blitz game. Instead, they said, okay, where do we need to go? We need to go towards the far right side, take out tower from the flanks instead of just funneling into the where Fantasy is. And then they said, okay, how do we prevent that from happening on our side? And they just cleaned up house. Very tactical, methodical gameplay from Universal. They know exactly where they need to be. They're so experienced on these positions.
Yeah, and that's for Fantasy, this obviously they would love to win this tournament, but this is a good result for them as well. How they came back in one set, the semifinal set, the fight that they showed right there. But once again, it just seemed like Universal was the better team. If Fantasy had come back on that, I mean, when they got that opening wipe in that last one, I was thinking like, no, they're not going to outdo this. They're not going to run this whole set right back, are they? And Universal kind of woke up and realized, oh yeah, we're Universal. We need to win this one, and they did. But a fantastic set between both teams. The future's looking bright. For this is I don't know where you classify these 2 teams in the grand scheme of things, but this appears to be the future for us, and that was exciting. Very exciting set for all of us.
I agree completely. It does. At the end of the day, labels are labels. Universal won a tournament, and it was a decently stacked tournament. There wasn't a ton of players. There weren't a ton of higher echelon teams, but they won a tournament with some great teams to play against.
And that will wrap it up for us here on this Friday night. I guess it's Saturday morning for some of us now. Testing Grounds 12. Once again, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, the Aquatic Cup is going to be happening tomorrow/today at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with 2 big changes. As always, the format is double elimination. However, this is no longer a skill cap tournament, and it is going to be counter picks the entire time. So if you like controlling the environment that you play in, if you hate the maps that TO's put out for you, well, good news. You get to be the one who decides what all the maps get to be in this tournament. So make sure you sign up for that. That is going to be Saturday, whatever Saturday is for you, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The link to that is in chat right now. Magic, where can people find you if they want more information about Magic stuff?
If they want more information about Magic stuff, my Twitter handle is at magic_octo on the twitter.com, where I post when I'm going live on Twitch at magic8_ball, twitch.tv. Popgun, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Mr_Popgun, and you can find a whole bunch of other stuff about me from there. Or you could just not, because you're a jerk, but that's your own issues that you need to figure out on your own. Hey, from all of us here at IPL Labs, from Raze and Sneck, the head TOs of this tournament, and a very special shout out to our producer behind the stream. Joining us from In-Game TV was Nitro Gu? Nitro Gu. How do we say your name?
Nitrogue.
Nitrogue. Nitrogue. Say it instead of... Okay, I can remember that. Hey, thanks for helping us out behind the stream. I believe we called you in last minute to kind of save us here. Maybe somebody had something to pop up. So thank you for allowing us to have a stream. And from all of us here at IPL Labs, I am Popgun, joined by Magic. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Once again, your final score, Universal 4-1 over Fantasy, winning the tournament. And you have been watching Testing Grounds 12 on IPL.